legitimate na balita pero hindi ito sumasang-ayon sa ating mga layunin, sasabihin natin, ay hindi, fake yan. Nakita natin yan nangyari sa ibang bansa. Pag merong isang leader na hindi naniniwala, halimbawa sa CNN, sasabihin niya, ay hindi, puro fake news dyan sa CNN. O kaya, ang ibang mamaraan para mo bago ka ibigay. Sir David, Clarissa, how would you define news? Is it the same as propaganda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ang sa problema, we don't like using the term fake news kasi yung term na yun na-subvert na siya. Like you said, US has been so we'd like information and misinformation. Meron yang iba klase. So misinformation, misinterpreted facts as raw information and then spread throughout the network. Meron tayong mga misinformation na hindi naman political. To add to this discussion, kasi we have.
But something that the PCOO can really do is to make sure that you promote the executive order signed by the President on the freedom of information, because the reality is, Secretary, maybe the PCO might be complying, but many government agencies, when you ask for information, take time, number one, releasing it, if they release it at all, because there are no penalties for it, real defined penalties. And I appreciate your being our partner in the Senate to push for it. Here in the Senate, we're still in the period of interpellation. But unfortunately, it's not the priority bill. So, okay, now I digress. We're going to freedom of information, but actually it's part and parcel also to get the right facts for us to be able to make an informed judgment. So maybe going also, somebody also who really explains well, is aside from Mr. Dasillas, is Mr. Alampay. So what's your take on this? What should the government do? You explained to me before, and I can't forget it also. It's important to check your sources, not just to stop there, but to be able to come in with an open mind and really see the work that has been put in a particular opinion piece or in a news piece. Sir.
Magandang umaga po. Maraming salamat po. I don't have a prepared presentation. I feel fortunate that the presenters who spoke ahead of me gave me more than enough things to reflect on. I start, of course, with Maria, and I think wala naman pong hindi sasang-ayon na yung mga pinakita ni Maria ay talagang sobra at and arguably criminally prosecutable. It should be something that it underscores why we are all here, because it is true, fake news and trolling in particular, magnified by political interests, whether it's government or any political power or any entity with the resources to magnify and weaponize, as she said, must be held accountable and must be brought to the full force of the law. That said, I'm also happy to start on the same page as Secretary Andanar and with my colleagues, that I believe at bottom that there are enough laws. There are laws on libel, there are laws on slander, we have the cybercrime law, we have anti-bullying laws, we have anti-violence against women and children, there are laws against disinformation, there are laws that should hold government accountable for any information or data that they come up with. And I remember in the last hearing I asked, are there laws regulating lobbying, for example, and I got a tweet back from practitioners who said, yes, there are laws even regulating lobbying. So once we cross into discussions about propaganda, and let's not even call it fake news, I do agree that I think propaganda is a safe word is a safe word for me. That even when it comes to lobbying, we have laws on that as well. The real fear for us, therefore, is that because precisely nothing is actually new. You can erase the internet and look back on the days, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s. You can go as far as you want, and you can recall white papers, you can recall how information and disinformation is spread via old technology or old and traditional media, and all of these have existed. Misinformation, disinformation have existed for the longest time. And despite that, we have settled, or we have come to our current laws that strike a balance between the need to protect the reputations of people and entities, at the same time to protect civility and the freedoms of people, their rights to express, their rights to press freedom, and to be heard. It is a balance, and that balance is something that we work very, very hard for. Iniingatan natin because konting kutkot pwedeng malaglag. This is what we talk about when we say a slippery slope. We're very, very careful. Every time we open this, we're very careful dahil alam natin na meron tayong kinakalikot at baka masira natin yung buong pundasyon ng ating lipunan. The fear, therefore, is we might use these new problems, and these are new problems. We might use these new methodologies and these new technologies as an excuse to reopen an old can of worms. In the last hearing, for example, legislators were already thinking out loud. Should we, for example, should we require people to anonymity? Should we require people to not have within the discussion and criminal defamation, and should we add new things to it? Should we even define what fake news is? And here I agree with David, even trying to define.
Just your suggestion to arm ourselves against these. And, there's a reminder by a legitimate journalist na, ma'am, sana naman hindi lang nakafocus sa paninira ng fake news sa mga politiko. Totoo yan, because even if you go to legitimate sites, you can see, akala mo talagang news, pero actually it's an advertisement for a particular medicine, an age-defying cream, weight loss program. So things like that, that's not really been verified. So Mr. Alampayag, and then Senator Bamas, a quick question also after you.
Muli po, wala namang pagkakaiba sa sinabi na ng iba. I believe that the laws are there. We should encourage people to use the law. Fight for your rights, defend what you need to defend, and use the full force of the law. Take legal action, as Maria said, and as Maria is demonstrating, and as private citizens are demonstrating. I'm very happy to see the NBI Cybercrime Division here, because I know that they have incredible world-class capability. Even with the presentation of Rappler, you see what even private citizens are capable of showing.
So you were able to investigate, you were able to check their capabilities, sir?
No,
the NBI?
There have been many reports. I mean, certainly the track record of the NBI in looking and doing cyber sleuthing, which I cannot even begin to understand. But the NBI, even from the days of the I Love You virus, was able to track down, just using strings of numbers, were able to track down an anonymous hacker that literally brought down the internet worldwide. And the point being is that we are afraid, and we talk about laws because we're afraid that we cannot understand the technology and we cannot keep pace with it. What I'm saying is actually no, we have a lot of history to show that with dedication and with investment and with technology as well, we can fight back. So hindi ko na po pagkakahabaan, I agree that the important thing is to use our rights, to use our law, and to fight back. I will, however, add, as I said in my last presentation, the last hearing, I think there is something to be said about government and government's accountability in spreading information and responsible information. In the presentation of Maria, if there is any link, for example, to suggest that anybody on government payroll or using government money, our tax money, therefore, there is a higher accountability on government to be transparent and to be accountable for any information or any infrastructure that they have built.
Thank you, Mr. Alampay. Now I will give the floor to Senator Aquino.
Maraming salamat, Chairman Grace. Maraming salamat. So I have a few questions for a few of the individuals here, but maybe we can begin with Secretary Andanar. Secretary, no, nakita niyo po yung presentation ni Ms. Reza. Nakita niyo po yung mga attack sa kanya, which are hate speech yan, no? In fact, iba pa yung fake news sa hate speech. It's a totally different animal altogether. Sa tingin po ninyo, may space po ba yan, yung ganyang klaseng pananalita sa ating lipunan?
Sa palagay ko po ay dapat respetuhin natin ang ating mga mamahayag, ang ating mga institusyon, the Fourth Estate, Your Excellency.
Yeah. Hindi naman Excellency, Secretary.
Your Honor.
Yeah, thank you.
Baka
So-
magbilang ang hell.
Matagal na ho kami magkakilala ni Secretary Martin, no? So, klaro ho tayo, no? In your presentation, you talked about disinformation and misinformation na nilalabanan po ng PCOO. And now I just wanted to clarify, pati hate speech, sa tingin po ninyo, hindi rin siya naaayon sa ating lipunan. Tama po?
Tama po yan.
Alright, because the three, Professor David, that we really, I think, talk about is disinformation, misinformation, and hate speech. No? Tatlo. Now, I think maybe one issue siguro, Secretary Andanar, that we might have to face as PCOO is that marami ho sa mga naglalabas ng misinformation, disinformation, at hate speech ay mga supporters rin ni President Duterte. No? I think that's something that we can all accept. In the last hearing, si Attorney Banaag was there and another USEC was there. Was that, who was that USEC?
Undersecretary Egco, sir.
Echo.
Egco.
Yes, USEC Echo. Who's still here? Who's just here behind us? Or if he's here, no? Nasabi ho niya na sa analysis po ng PCOO, meron din talagang maling impormasyon, no? Misinformation, disinformation, and even hate speech that come from websites or blogs that are supportive of the President. So ang tanong ko po, Secretary, maganda ho yung presentation po ninyo. At sabi nga ho ninyo, you're serious in trying to fight fake news and hate speech. Would you be willing to talk to the ano yun, parang balitang, anyway, we gave this information, disinformation, or even hate.
Maraming supporter si Presidente Duterte na merong mga kanya-kanyang Facebook. Sapagkat ako'y naniniwala na kapag meron po tayong mga may-ari ng mga Facebook pages na yon. But I can certainly... Salamat po sa tanong, Senator Bam. But for the record po, noong 2016, po ako kabahagi na kampanya ni this campaign. I was still working with... Nakilala ko lang ho ang...
Po silang makausap kasi sigurado naman news websites at hiniling po namin na gumawa kayo ng analysis kung sino po yung mga may-ari o sino po yung nasa likod po ng mga ito. Nagawa niyo po ba yan, sir?
Yes, sir. Una, I would like to thank the gentleman in front for the nice compliment. Thank you very much, sir. Yung NBI po ay nagsasagawa na ng
Kayo na magbigay ng impormasyon po sa amin. This is about 50, to be honest, because my uncle's a national hero, so mabuti nga na idolo ko siya. Batikos po yun, no? But that's not necessarily misinformation, disinformation, or even hate speech. So I think for most politicians, we're adults, we're mature, alam ho namin yung laro ng politika. Pero kapag magandang batas na po yung natatamaan, kapag magandang effort po yung natatamaan, pag isang bagay na sana pwede nating pagkaisahan, no, para sa taong bayan, sana po may hangganan din yung batikos tsaka yung kritisismo, no. And this is just my plea to you, no. And I can see that you're trying to run this office very professionally. Nakikita ko naman po yun eh. And I've spoken to many members of PCOO. Nakikita ko rin naman ho na gusto nila na sana po yung taong bayan tumigil na po sa anumang threats, kasi nung nabasa ko po yung kay Maria, no, yung about rape, about killings, it's horrendous, no? And I don't know, but it makes me sick to my stomach na yun ang hihilingin mo para sa isang tao. No, and I hope it makes us all sick to our stomach. And I think bilang mga pinuno, bilang mga leaders, we're responsible for that. Na yung batikoso walang problema, yung kritisismo walang problema, pero pag umahantong na sa peke, sa pangluloko, o sa ganong klaseng pananalita, dapat magkaisa naman ho tayo na itigil na po ito. Yun lang po, Secretary. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Bam. Actually,
Madam Chair,
Secretary Andanar, you may respond to this quickly, and then I would like to add something on this particular topic. Sir?
I completely understand, Senator Bam Aquino, ang inyong damdamin po, and I will reach out to MOCA, that particular issue about the good law that you are sponsoring.
Secretary, I know you mentioned earlier, I was listening back there, you mentioned that Secretary Moca's blog is separate from PCOO. Nakalagay naman doon talaga malinaw, Moca Uson blog. Subalit, may overlap po ito sapagkat dun sa ating batas, no, RA 67, itong public official as defined in RA 6713 as elective and appointed officials and employees. Ngayon, yung Section 7 ng 6713 nakalagay na they may engage in the private practice of their profession unless authorized by the Constitution or law, provided that such practice will not conflict or tend to conflict with their official functions. Now, for example, I have here in my office people of their own Facebook page. In fact, I'm not really an active user in the sense that I don't stalk my employees' Facebook pages. But sometimes, some call my attention that some of my employees are posting things that are not of my official statement. For example, they have their own political inclinations, even if they work for me, because I strive to hire people from a cross-section of society. So some of them are pro this particular politician, some of them are against. But I have to talk to them and appeal to them that you have to make a decision and a sacrifice. If you want to remain with me, what you say can be misconstrued and may be interpreted as my official statement, particularly the ones in a critical position in my staff, those that belong to the political group, the legislative group, for example. Now, if you're in the administrative admin, then, you know, they can do it because I don't want also to curtail their freedom to speak out. Now, Secretary Moca has been very effective in the campaign of the President, and I believe an excellent strategy for any administration to hire somebody as diehard or as a firm believer as somebody like her. Because you need to be able also to spread whatever your policies are, your good news are to the public. On the other hand, as communications undersecretary, USEC ba siya o ASEC?
ASEC po.
Assistant Secretary, it's very hard to separate her own personal opinion from that of the PCOO. Have you ever considered, and I will ask this and I hope you answer me in all candidness, that since her own private blog is also a way of expressing and communicating that it is indeed overlapping with her official function, perhaps even using government time to be able to to be able to fulfill her work in her blog. Have you ever considered perhaps that this is a conflict of interest and it should be shut down, sir?
I've spoken to Mocha about it, Madam Chair, and we have also spoken about her freedom of expression and also her way of speaking on her own Facebook page. And I have called her out a few times, and she has also taken down a few of her remarks. Your Honor.
Kasi Secretary, ganito, I think there was one post also recently about supposedly a circular sent by Saint Scholasticas about students being encouraged or forced to attend a particular anti-rally demonstration. Okay, she posted this immediately on her website, apparently because it came from a parent or her blog, I'm sorry. Immediately took it down anyway, but not after 13,000 likes or 13,000 shares. So it's already gone viral. Because people believe her. So people do this, but this is not the first instance, and I don't want to single her out. On the other hand, she's the most prominent. So, Secretary, I sympathize with your efforts. On the other hand, if somebody's undermining those efforts, what steps are you taking? I mean, it shows also strength in leadership. For you to be able to assert your authority, is there suspension or is just merely a slap on the wrist? Sir, because I would also like to read to you exactly how, let's say, a mainstream publication checks their formula. For example, what standards do you give your employees? They have a 3D formula in this publication. It says, it is a deliberate act of fabrication. Is it deliberate? Is it manipulation, disguised, or pinagkakaila to look and sound and feel like the news? And third, is it designed to deceive? So these three things should be vetted first before it is published or before it is shared in their blog. Sir, so what do you do? What particular penalties or action do you take for employees? Yes, Attorney Anna.
Madam Chair, for this particular issue, that of the Saint Scholastica, ASEC Mocha was not yet appointed then, during that time. And if there is something that the Secretary and the PCOO had been doing with ASEC Mocha, and last hearing, Madam Chair, ASEC Mocha promised that she would be more circumspect with whatever she posts on Facebook, and she is not exempted. She knows that she is not exempted from any accountability that the law provides for anybody, public official man po o hindi. And that was very clear po dun sa sinabi po ni ASEC Mocha last time.
Okay, no, I understand this has been before her appointment, but on the other hand, also the quality of people that we take in. Now, what is the goal? Because I think that it would be understandable, for example, with the many supporters of the president, and I would like to clear this, I think that a lot of people would tend to dismiss it and say, oh, mga bots lang yan. No, I believe there are a lot of organic supporters of the president. I don't think it would be something that we should condemn if, for example, a group of loyal supporters actually hire somebody as, like Secretary ASEC Mocha, to head their pro-Duterte campaign, even now, because it's a constant campaign, but to be under the Office of Communications, the official communications office, not just of the president, but of the Republic. Wouldn't this be in conflict? I think that ASEC would be more would be permitted more freedom to speak out should she be in the private sector? Sir.
Madam Chair, I believe that Assistant Secretary Mocha Uson has a specific market to serve, and she is serving that market well as far as the official Presidential Communications Operations Office platforms are concerned. We also believe in her freedom of expression, and we also believe that she
Sir,
has to
sabihin mo
be
sa akin
accountable.
anong particular market at sabihin mo sa akin kung hindi niya ito magagawa bilang isang pribadong mamamayan at hindi kawani ng gobyerno.
The market she serves based on the social media analytics are those who are outside of the country, the OFWs, and the class CDE. The number two, I also believe that she has to be accountable to the law. Kung ano man ang sabihin, hindi naman siya exempted. Kung kakasuhan siya ng libel, in fact, kinasuhan na po siya ni...
So, Sec, hindi ba niya dinadaan sa inyo kung sino po yung... Kasi 'di ba sa mga mainstream publications, meron syempreng editor na dinadaanan. So, bago po i-post, hindi lamang siya, kundi yung iba sa inyo, sa PCOO. Pero ang problema kasi, private blog niya yun eh, di ba? So, hindi po talaga dadaan sa inyo yun. Yun yung problema lang natin dito.
Opo.
Hindi natin sinasabi na dapat tanggalin niya yung blog na yon. Ang sinasabi ko lang, dahil siya'y napapailalim sa inyong tanggapan, yun po nagkakaroon ng kalituhan. So,
Tama
sir,
po.
ano po yung
Tama po,
yung
ma'am.
inyong nais na masabi dito?
Tama po kayo, ma'am. Hindi po dumadaan sa PCOO ang lahat ng pinopost ni ASEC Mocha sa kanya.
Pero sinabi din po ninyo, kaya nga dito yung overlap
Opo,
ha,
opo.
sinabi ninyo, hindi dumadaan sa inyo, pero may mga sinasabi kayong pinopost niya na pinapatanggal nyo rin.
Ito po ay base rin sa mga tawag na natatanggap ko from a senator na hindi ko na lang babanggitin na siyempre nasaktan sa sinabi ni Mocha. So sabi ko, ba't mo naman ginawa yan? So sige, Secmar tatanggalin.
For the record, hindi ako yon ha.
Hindi po kayo. Hindi po kayo. And I also believe, Madam Chair, that well, Mocha naman is presidential appointee, so it's a prerogative of the president for her to serve him sa mga coverages niya. Pero lahat po ng ito, ang akin lamang po dito ay kung titingnan po natin yung mga opisyal na plataforma ng gobyerno, the media platforms, so we've been working very hard and we've been very objective, we've been very fair. Hindi po porket oposisyon ay hindi mababasa sa Philippine News Agency. In fact,
Hindi, totoo po yan. Sa Philippine News Agency, lalo-lalo na pag pumupunta sa mga probinsya, sila ay bukas sa lahat ng mga opisyal ng gobyerno. Hindi lamang yan sa lahat. At yung PTV4, congratulations sa precisely because of the popularity of the president and precisely because you employ people who have the pulse, as you say, of the others. But PTV4 has a wider viewership, and even your radio station, which I was surprised to see, is number one, at least in your report. But we have to hold ourselves at a higher moral standard, is what I'm saying. Kasi parang importante na maabot natin ng ating mga kababayan. Importante that we are able to entertain. Importante that we are able to capture their interest. On the other hand, it is more important for us to set a good example, because this is the basis of the law. The basis of the law is that we have the moral authority to be able to implement it properly. That's what I'm saying. Kasi ganito yung nangyayari. Kung si ganyan nga, ganyan umarte, di ako rin. 'Di ba? Yung mga bata ganun din yung sinasabi. This is just my point. Secretary Mocha was in our hearing and I found her rather charming. She was able to disarm Senator Trillanes, which is not easy to do. So she has the capability. I have in your group, I respect well, okay, maybe it's a strong word, but in a way I am amazed at the capabilities of some with their research capability. Again, on the other hand, when you look at it, to be able to suit a particular truth, Di ba? Maraming magagaling sa grupo ninyo. Miss Badoy is one of them. Attorney Angeles is very good. Sass is very good. I mean, in terms of being able to push their goal, okay, whether it's propaganda or not. Thinking Pinoy, Franco Mabanta, maraming magaling. On the other hand, sa kabila, marami din magaling. Hover Lario, na matapang na nagpakita dito. That's why it's my job in public information to be able to balance this out. Maria Ressa has been the pioneer of this social media. I remember 2013, hindi pa yan masyadong sikat ng social media. Siya na nagsasabi, this is the next battleground, even before we were able to see it. That's why we are now at this cusp, okay? We have tremendous power in our hands to be able to spread not just the good news but the truth. And Secretary Andanar, you hold a very important position. That's why I'm glad you're present here. Kasi dati, yung mga nasa subordinates mo lang yun nandito. Ngayon, nadidinig ko mismo sa inyo ang inyong polisiya. At importante yan kasi alam nyo naman, I strive to be fair also in our hearings. I'll acknowledge if there's something that you do good, but it's my responsibility and my mandate to be able to be accountable to the people. Now, why are we here today? We are here today because of a post of a certain Kokoy Dayaw. And that's the truth about the senators that filed the resolution and what he called each and one of them. I think if I will go back to the story here, and okay. One of the things that were mentioned, I think, okay, hindi ko na matandaan kung ano pero oo, I think that, teka muna, ito, Senator Pacquiao sa motion kasi here, but ang mga sinabi tungkol dito, and Pinoy Ako Blog actually reposted here. Kunyari, kay Senator Soto, tanungin mo si Pepsi Paloma, yung kay Senator Villar, basta kung ano-ano yung mga sinabi na even Senator Bam was also really affected. Okay, parang masyado naman yatang below the belt na rin yung mga ano. Yun ay pinost nitong si Kokoy Daya. That's why we called for this hearing. On the other hand, there are also many other issues. And he's not here today. As I said nga, you can dish it out but you can't take it. A lot of us are so easy to criticize, but when it comes for us to be able to face the public, natatakot tayong lumabas. Di ba dapat kung matapang kang mamintas, magpakita ka rin and be accountable. They're not here now. Facebook also, we've been inviting them because of some management changes. They're not able to be here, but it would really serve the public. As Ms. Ressa pointed out, the number one Facebook users are Filipinos, where the traffic of Facebook here, pinagkakitaan yan, pinag-usapan. Halimbawa, kinancel yung merong liability yung Rappler. I will not argue with the case of the SEC. Even Oscar Franklin Tan came out with his opinion that they are indeed liable. And we're not above the law. We have to comply with all. On the other hand, if we are to be truthful, HBO, CNN, they can show their content here. They're not exactly incorporated in the Philippines. They're not owned by Filipino shareholders. So there are a lot of things that are going on that in media can be a little bit untenable. That's why we should be able to control also what the public, not control, but to be able to present the truth to the public. So I hope Facebook will come here. And I think that Senator Pacquiao has a motion for two.
Madam Chair, I've been waiting for especially Dayaw to come here in to attend the hearing since the first hearing. So I think, Madam Chair, I move to issue a subpoena to Dayaw and a representative of Facebook and Google.
So moved. We will issue the subpoena from the Senate. I wanted to conclude this hearing today because it's quite good, but I think that there's a lot that we can discuss here. I think Ms. Badoy raised her hand first. So,
Madam
ma'am.
Chair, could you be very clear about something? That the viciousness is not the sole property of Pro Dutertes, because I've been on the receiving end as well, and so have my friends. I'd like to ask Maria, is this allowed to ask Maria Ressa? Is this what you mean?
You can address me, then I will
yes,
ask her. I'm sorry about the formality.
Yes. Are we to accept hook, line, and sinker what she just presented, knowing that she's a very fierce opponent of the president? She gave examples, Madam Chair, of the viciousness that she was recipient to. I didn't know I could do that because I could give 1,000,000 times more what I received. No, rape, the paternity of my children, had an affair with Senator Mig Zubiri, all of this.
They
So
said you had
I
an
just want
affair
it
with
for the
Senator-
record. I just want it for the record, Madam Chair, that it cuts both ways. This is not the sole crime of pro Duterte bloggers.
Oh, no, ma'am. On the other hand, I'd like to also reiterate. In fact, the resolution was called because of an anti-Duterte blogger
Yeah.
who
Yes.
insulted my fellow senators. And it's not just, political. This is an opportunity also to look at fake news in general. Now, of course, this is something that you accept having your own blog, us being public officials, talagang titirahin talaga tayo. Okay? Now, Ms. Ressa just pointed out something, but your question is, what is your exact question to her, ma'am?
No, basically, I didn't, Miss Ressa. I just want to know are you saying that it is just the supporters of the president who are doing this?
Ma'am, please answer.
Thank you. So obviously we also see a little bit of what we each do, right, online. So I also see your criticisms of us, and as you can see, I've never actually been uncivil. I'm quite respectful of everyone's opinions. What we show in what we're nicknaming it the Shark Tank. What we show there is our networks that scale. So it's kind of like what's happening in our political landscape now, in the sense that I'm sorry if there's any opposition, but there's essentially no opposition right now. And it isn't, and I'll also correct you, please, if you allow me, I am not a fierce, you said that I'm a fierce opponent of the president. I think the president himself will tell you that I've been very, very fair to him, and some of our coverage actually helped get him elected, as other political parties have told me. So this isn't personal. It's a job we do. The data shows something that is very clear, which doesn't discount attacks you may have gotten from real people who are offended by the things you post. Those things happen. But what we've done is actually pull the network, actually show you and map for you networks that scale. And you're talking, again, part of it is because it's much more systematic, it's consistent in approach, and it built off of the social media campaign team, and it was weaponized in July. And really, I think the one thing
Madam
I
Chair,
didn't mention...
Madam Chair, I'm sorry for
Yes, ma'am.
interrupting.
Sir.
Yes, go ahead,
Can you
Senator.
address to the chair, not personally?
Sure. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think I've said it. I think our main point, though, is that what is the end goal of the hate? And that's the part I may have glossed over. The end goal is to silence dissent. And again, this is not unique to the Philippines. What we saw online on social media from about August 2016 to about August 2017, and again, the data is there for anyone to get, is a chilling effect, what Professor David would call a spiral of silence. And that spiral of silence takes out other people's freedom of expression because they have been intimidated into silence. I'll benchmark August 2017 as the time when it ended. That was the time when the 3 teenage boys were killed. And that's when we began to see people who had been silenced on social media, on Facebook, begin to voice their personal opinions again. But before journalists were attacked, the people who were attacked online were the ones who were questioning the extrajudicial killings.
You know what? Actually, ganito there's a new phenomenon now. Dati, it used to be mainstream media. Sila lang lahat. Panahon pa ng parents ko sa showbiz noon, may jingle extra hot. Iba talagang kung ano nung mga nilalagay na hindi naman totoo. But it's entertaining. Ngayon, the power does not just reside on mainstream media. Diba? Because the citizenry can comment and the bloggers come in. When Ms. Reza says that to silence, this is actually more powerful and it's a little bit more scary because it's by choice. You know why? Because no matter how grave the threats are, na sasabihin, papatayin kita, rape kita, ganyan, alam mo naman hindi gagawin eh. Until now, I walk around, I don't really have, maybe I shouldn't say it, but what I'm saying is this, it's by choice because we don't want to engage anymore at that low level of discussion. In short, ang mga Pilipino, kahit na madaldal tayo, kahit na mahilig tayo mag-express, meron tayong hiya. Nahihiya tayo. So kung merong isang tao na immunized from that, naiinsultuhin ka sa level na hindi mo kayang tanggapin, tatahimik ka. So in fact, you have a very powerful tool, those that are kind of callous against those that still have that hiya. So it's actually by choice. Nobody's telling you, wag kang sumagot dyan, or ayaw mo na kasi hindi mo na kaya yung laban. Kaya siguro, in government, we should be able to temper that, di ba, na the ones that are reachable to us, the ones that we can say, wag naman kayo masyadong maging ganyan kasi ehemplo tayo. Secretary Andanar, you're very diplomatic, and I will be the first to attest to say that during the time of the president, when he was running for president, you were neutral. Well, at least I thought, right? I think, right? You weren't, because you were still a media practitioner then, and so, in a way, the president hiring you, you were not known to be his rara boy during the campaign. It sends a message, right? That he gets somebody impartial somehow to head. You're diplomatic. But now, you have to deal with the ones that are really diehard for him or in the administration.
Madam Chair.
So you provide the balance. Now, Senator Pacquiao, then I would like to go to the experts here. We have Mr. Dicini, who has to leave. And then we also have Mr. Nocum and Mr. Lopez. And, well, Mr. Lopez, a blogger, he said, ordinary citizen. Okay, fine. Whatever. Senator Pacquiao.
Thank you, Madam Chair. But before that, I big disagree with, sabi mo, may mga hiya. May mga taong walang hiya, Madam Chair.
Kaya nga, may mga walang hiya. Sila nga yung namamayagpag ngayon. Di ba? Kasi pagdating dito sa social media, nabubulat-latin lahat, kailangan talaga ang sikmura mo malakas. Di ba? Kaya matapang ang apog. Yun ang nagiging weapon, or they're weaponized in that way. Of course, this is my opinion. Maraming walang hiya. May napapaligiran nga tayo sa Di bali na lang. Okay. Mr. Dicini, I will defer to you because you have to leave, sir. Are you teaching? You
Yes,
don't
I am.
want to give your students a free cut? I'm sure they would love you more for it. No, sir, go ahead, please. Anything you have to add to our discussion?
I guess I haven't had a chance to look at the bills, the proposed bills. I think the basic problem, Madam Chair, is a question of what leverage the Philippine government has with respect to social media, given that a lot of the social media platforms are not located in the Philippines. So if we look at Facebook, for example, they do have a local office, but I understand they're operating out of a Singapore incorporated entity. And I believe that's true also of Google. In other words, if you were to buy advertising on Facebook, the charges are made to a Singaporean, an offshore company, although they have a local presence. If we look at PD 1018, so actually one of the possible areas of intervention by the Philippine government could be at the level of, or at the layer of the infrastructure. because Facebook is accessed through infrastructure that is under the supervision of the National Telecommunications Commission. This would be internet service providers. Now, in RA 7925, they are called value-added service providers. Not to mention the telcos that actually carry the traffic.
Sir, not that we're going to do this, and
Yes,
I'll be
yes.
the first to disagree if they do. But let's say, can you block a particular company like Facebook, for example, from being accessed in the Philippines? I know they do this in China.
Yes.
They have. So, do we have that capability?
It is
Does the
in fact-
NTC do?
I believe that it is possible. If the telcos block the IPs associated with Facebook, they could technically block Facebook from access in the Philippines. The Great Wall of China has demonstrated that that's possible for a state to undertake.
Of course, that will spark a revolution, and we know that.
Yes,
but
yes.
but what I'm saying is they're banking on that. They're banking on their popularity. But we should also be able to assert their accountability to us.
Yes.
Um,
I'm not suggesting that is the
no,
policy,
I know, sir.
prescription.
Absolutely. I
Yes.
don't either. My kids would probably be the first to remind me.
Yes. I'm
Yes.
really trying to identify areas of leverage insofar as the state is concerned.
How?
Certainly,
Okay, tell me.
certainly one area of leverage is regulation of telcos insofar as they give access to these kinds of sites. For example, the Senate, for example, could examine Facebook allowing, I believe it's Globe Telecom or maybe even Smart, allowing free access over mobile to Facebook. So therefore, people who don't pay for data are able to access this particular type of content. And that actually has been roundly criticized or remarked
Okay.
upon.
So sinasabi mo, okay, para mas maintindihan
Opo.
natin, no? Sinasabi nyo, pagka kunyari ako wala akong data plan,
Opo.
okay, pero lalabas sa feed ko pa rin ang mga news na pili. Ganun ba yon?
Ma-access nyo po ang Facebook. Ang Facebook kasi libre po. Hindi nyo kailangan magbayad.
Okay. So ang sinasabi ninyo, pag merong kapangyarihan ng mga telco na pag walang data, hindi na makukuha yung Facebook. Ganon.
I think, so it's not clear po kung ano yung arrangement ng telcos with respect to Facebook. Whether or not binabayaran sila ng Facebook to provide free data.
Yun. Oo.
Or if it's some sort of donation. Either way po, this is a government, this is an entity that, meaning these telcos rely on a government franchise to operate. They are licensed by the National Telecommunications Commission. They are accountable to the Philippine government. In effect, they are subsidized by taxpayers because they operate at the behest of the state, of the republic.
Right. The franchise, right.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And therefore, to the extent that they're allowing free access to a particular type of content, is something that the state could potentially have leverage over. And this practice of free Facebook po isn't just isolated to the Philippines. This is true in many places in the world. And in fact, that this has been remarked upon that this has affected political outcomes in various places in the world, including Africa. And these are places where they would like to provide free access, and therefore on mobile. So everybody knows that this is all moving towards mobile now, and access on that platform is the next battleground.
Alam naman natin, Professor, di ba,
Opo.
na siguro 70% ng ating mga kababayan prepaid yan. Di ba? Wala naman yung postpaid account. So marami din sa kanila, wala naman silang extra na pera para dun sa data nga. So pero binibigay sa kanila kasi come on yun eh. Di ba? Mas nakaka-engganyo sa kanila na ipagpatuloy yung kanilang for a particular telco company. Hindi naman sa gagawin natin yon, pero dapat alam naman ng mga kumpanya na yan, katulad ng Facebook or Google, na yun nga, they are able to come out here precisely because of this arrangement, di ba? So kung sabihin natin kung walang data yan, walang access sa inyo, malaki matatapyas sa kanila niyan. Hindi ba, Mr. Gingona, you were nodding a while ago.
Yes, I was just actually before Mr. Dicini said anything. There was a big issue sa Amerika, no? Yung net neutrality. Ngayon, ang net neutrality kasi, ang sinasabi doon, ang mga telcos, malaki ang kapangyarihan. Kung ayaw nilang magkalibre kang Viber or FaceTime or ano, pwede nilang ipihit yung spigot. On the other hand, in order to have a cam on, they can give you freebies, free Facebook, free. So, if we're thinking about the reason why Facebook is so powerful is because it is given inordinate exposure. In other words, now people like the newspapers depend on Facebook to bring out their content, which is really very strange because ngayon hindi na sila bibisitahin lang ang inquirer.net kapag nandun na sa Facebook ang nangyayari. So, it's being given an inordinate amount of power. Ika nga, with great power lies great irresponsibility ang nangyayari. So, irresponsible instead of responsibility. So, if we are thinking of legislation, perhaps it's important to invite the telcos here dahil sila nga ang may kapangyarihan doon sa pagpihit ng spigot of information.
That is actually, I was about to go into that. We just had some telco companies here for a franchise hearing. I think in the next hearing, hopefully we'll have Facebook, Google, Dial, and Globe, Smart, and whoever else providers that we have. I think we should also put this in their franchise agreement with the government, diba? Parang accountability on that. Senator Pacquiao, were you gonna add something before I ask Mr. Nokum? Meron po kayo o patanungin ko muna siya? Okay, Mr. Nokum, you're a PR guy. Okay?
Yes,
and I think public, am I correct, sir?
Public relations, yes.
Sir, explain to me your thoughts on our proceedings now and maybe some interesting facts that we may not know about, sir.
So, ganito po yun, Miss Senator. I'm parang half-breed po ako dito because I've been 20 years sa local and national media and my firm also pioneered, one of the naging pioneers ng social media operations, especially during the campaigns.
Social media operations po kayo. Anong
Yes.
campaign po?
From 2013 to, yes.
2016.
Yeah.
So
from,
what,
from
you were with a
2010 po,
particular
2010.
camp? Were you hired by a camp? You were with a particular
Yeah,
camp?
with it's more individual.
Somebody hired you
Senators,
to help.
yes,
Okay. All right.
Congressmen, mayors, and
And
higher.
Vice President?
May kwan po eh, may confidentiality
No, ako-
close.
Wala tong vindictiveness or
Yes,
anything.
yes,
This is
wala.
for information. Sir, alam naman natin yung nangyari. Yun nga yung problema namin, hindi kami nakinig kay Maria Ressa nung umpisa na yung battleground talaga sa na cyber. But
Yes
okay,
po.
sir, so go
Pero
ahead. Okay,
I'll start
explain.
muna dito sa kwan. So, we have seen yung evolution ng social media sa Pilipinas. Kasi before, yung nga, like you said, parang Diyos kami sa kwan. I was with the Inquirer. Parang Diyos kami ng communication industry. We were, the Niño Bonitos. And then in the past, you have to be raped, you have to be killed, you have to know somebody in the media to end up being covered in the news, no? Or by the media. Ngayon, you have millions of followers lang, maganda yung gimmick mo, kwan ka na. So, ang nag-evolve po yung lalo na sa industry ko, sa PR industry, kaya nga may mga confusion na ganito tayo ngayon. Meron po yung mga old guards na sa PR, I'm talking about PR, no, na iniisip, wala, fad lang yung social media. Even 2013, pinagtatawanan po ako. 2010, dinidismiss lang nila yan. So, and then po, meron rin po yung young Turks ngayon, yung graduate ng graphic arts, graduate ng computer science, or other courses na more related sa IT, na pumunta na po dito sa communication industry. And then yung third, yung kami na po, yung hybrid nga, yung we know something about yung old media and the new media and we crossbreed it, no? So, ang problema po, nakikita ko, I mean, with no offense meant sa mga non-media operators, ang sa kanila parang walang ethics is not in the equation. Parang you can create fake news, you can create bots. That's the name of the game. The truth has nothing to do with it. Kasi oda yung kwan, yung truth, Wild Wild West. Kaya nga siguro ang magandang suggestion dito, siguro kami sa mga social media operators, dapat meron rin po na parang kwan parang social media ethics. Pero it should be done through our own initiative siguro. Malacanang shouldn't even help kasi baka masuspect na naman sila kasi at least kami sa old media meron kami editor, takot po kami sa mga editors namin, meron kami ombudsman, meron kami lawyer to review our papers. Pero yun nga as what is happening kahit sa PIA o kay Miss Mocha, labas na lang po, nobody's checking parang unfortunately syempre gobyerno medyo nakakabahala. So, yun sana po. And since we're talking about regulation, it is very hard to regulate. Yun nga, I agree with Attorney Disini kasi yun yung ginagamit ng escape ng mga operators like me na abroad yung kwan. And Mark Zuckerberg will not give... kami po, pinaimbestigahan na kami ng DOJ, NBI, pero they came up with nothing dahil marunong rin po kami. So, yun nga, sa abroad yung kwan yung mga sites.
Sir, excuse me po. You called yourself also an operator, no? You just
Yes po.
mentioned it
Yeah.
now. But you yourself, having been also in mainstream media, you know also you appreciate also a certain standard, correct?
Yes po, yes.
You mentioned that you work for certain senators and other public
Yes.
candidates.
Yes.
So you worked for Mar Rojas in the last campaign, correct? Or not him, but somebody who supported him.
I can't comment on that po.
Okay, so that's a yes. Anyway, obviously, this is
I could
also
have helped you po.
if we
I was with
approach you.
ERAP, I could have helped you.
Well, you know what? Depende lang yun sa funding at saka sa kaya. Pero hindi.
We have a site in your name.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
maybe we can talk after this. No, this is what I'm saying. It's no guarantee also that you operate and then you can have your particular candidate or whoever you're trying to promote in social media succeed. There's still that element of what people really like. Kaya nga ito yung sinasabi ko maraming nagagalit dun sa let's say pro-administration. But the truth is, sa ngayon, marami talagang organic pa rin na supporters. Diba? Hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin na nanalo ang isang kandidato dahil lamang ang galing ng social media strategy nila. Hindi yun. Meron talagang nakabaon sa lupa ng mga ugat na talagang sentimiento na paniniwala. On the other hand, pwede rin itong maabuso, di ba? So, ngayon, namamayagpag yung isang grupo, hindi naman din yata tama din na kalimutan na lang natin yung mga boses na medyo mas mahina ng konti. Kailangan bigyan din natin ng ano. So, siguro, pupunta ako kay, sir, may dadagdag pa po kayo.
Ngayon po, ang lumalabas parang Wild Wild West na and it will become wilder this 2019 election. Nakikita ko po nagiging multi-billion industry na yung social media. Ang e-commerce industry is estimated to be $1 billion. Siguro baka this election or the next election, social media operations could approximate that. So, tama ho talaga, may mga regulations po. Ang nakikita ko po, dapat ma-regulate dito yung local governments po. Kasi bakit ngayon ang pinagyayabangan ng mga social media operators ko, yung millions na followers nila. Hindi ba maganda po sasabihin na ako, I have a firm, I am 5 employees, I am registered with DTI, I pay my taxes. Kaya nga ho, yung NBI pwede rin po i-check kasi po nagiging kwa na po sinasabi na they're doing it on the personal basis pero nagiging commercial na po and Ms. Maria Reza knows how to check them, and Mr. Robbie Alampay said, magaling naman yung NBI. Why doesn't the NBI check na yung mga ginagawa na po talaga negosyo? Kasi, like you said, somebody can get Ms. Mocha to operate this election or anybody, pero hindi nga po registered.
Sinasabi niyo dapat
local
isiwalat.
governments,
Hindi,
yes.
isiwalat din nila kung sino yung mga sponsors nila o kung sino yung kumukuha sa kanila na ng
Or
impormasyon.
siguro po,
ganun.
appeal rin sa medyo...
Bakit local government?
Kasi po, at least ma-register naman sila. Pwede rin sa national government, sa DTI.
Okay.
Dapat registered na po sila. Pagkatapos, syempre may writer sila, may editor sila, may kwan.
Okay.
So may system na po, hindi tulad ngayon. They
Oo.
operate as campaign operators or social media operators, pero parang guerrilla type eh. Kaya wala tayong control.
Tama. Senator Pacquiao has something to add.
Sorry for this. We know that in our constitution there's a freedom of expression. But because of this freedom of expression, naabuso na kasi. So do you think that the media in our country, we need to control it? I think that's the problem eh. Kasi ang technology natin ngayon, talagang iba na way back, no? 20 years ago. Ngayon, siguro naman, and yan ang isa sa mga tanong ko na kung agree ba kayo na makontrol din naman yung ano ng mga media na hindi naman lumampas doon sa tinatawag nating yung personal interest, personal ng tao, okay lang yung freedom of expression. I believe in that.
Ang sagot ko dyan, Senator, nakikita ko po na tulad ng sinabi ni Madam Chair kanina po sa introduction, may mga pertinent laws na po tayo. In fact, naka-apply na yung po sa old media, sa Rappler, sa lahat, sa ABS-CBN. Siguro po yung application na talaga, yung libel, cybercrime law. Ang masakit nga fully applied sa old media, pero sa new media po, parang walang application of any kind po. Kaya any vlogger can say, vlogger na ako, this is my opinion, and I can hit Senator Manny Pacquiao if I want. Parang
Yes.
ganun po eh.
By the way, we know the answer already, but I want to ask this for the record again. At least 5 or 6 of you will answer of this. How you define fake news? Para kasi pagdating sa floor dito, pag may bill na matatakil, at least we have the basis.
Okay. Thank you, Senator.
Can you answer with that?
Yes, Senator. Thank you for asking that. Sa akin po, as a journalist of former reporter of the Inquirer, ang problema ko ngayon, nagkakamali yung tao, yung sinasabi na sensational journalism o forgive the word, no? SS. Fake news po. Hindi, kasi yung ganon po, meron truth. Siguro mga 30% in-exaggerate, sensationalize. Pero ang problema po sa fake news, 100% po nothing talaga eh. 100% nothing. That's why more dangerous po. Nakakabahala siya dahil mini-mislead niya yung mga tao until wala ng credibility yung news, any kind of news sa mga tao.
Siguro KBP muna, tapos ibibigay ko muna yung floor kay Senator Pacquiao bago ko mag-take over. KBP, what regulations would you recommend in order to make sure that there's a balance, and then if they call it fake news, a proliferation, we can at least arrest it, if not lessen it? Sir, how do you do it in KBP? Kasi importante yung inyong samahan.
Salamat, Madam Senator Pacquiao. Sa KBP po, meron kaming Code of Ethics. And we enforce the Code of Ethics insofar as the quality of news is concerned. Basically, truth and accuracy verification is necessary. So, meron kaming Code of Ethics. We also adopt by reference the laws of the land. So, sa amin po ang position namin dito sa gustong gawin regarding fake news is sufficient na po ang batas. At ang kailangan lang siguro is proper enforcement. We know that the problem is more on the new media rather on traditional media. Kasi ang traditional media, basically we're brick and mortar. We exist, we have an address, we have people who are seen, heard, etc. And the accountability is there. In new media, it might be different, except of course, there are new media which operate just like traditional media, except on a different platform. The accountability is there. So, sa amin, tama po yung mga punto na nasabi na yung mga previous resources persons na baka ang problema is yung enforcement. Kailangan na panindigan natin yung karapatan natin and when it comes to the freedom
Sir,
of
give me an example. Where has the government not enforced the law when it comes to, let's say, social media, bloggers, etc.? Give me a concrete example. Sino dapat napahuli natin na hindi natin nagawa, sir?
kunwari po, kung identifiable yung source ng fake news or misinformation and it causes damage, I'm not really a follower of fake news. That's why maybe I can't give concrete examples on how they should be pursued. But ang punto lang po is kung meron nasaktan sa for example, VP Lenny, yung mga attack against her, she could take a strong position and sue the persons attacking her reputation.
Who?
Yung kanyang paborito po, for example, she was
Who are you referring to? I'm sorry, I missed that.
VP Lenny po.
Okay.
Apa, marami pong nag-atake sa kanya. She could have pursued cases against these persons. And kung minsan kasi, tama po yung may parlance din kasi sa media na today's news is tomorrow's fish paper. Today's newspaper is tomorrow's fish paper. Ang ibig sabihin, kung patulan mo pa yung news, lalaki. At ikaw ay kawawa. So, mas maganda kung minsan na tumahimik ka na lang, mamamatay yung balita, mamamatay yung atake sa inyo. Our members also, Madam Chair, kanina yung attack na sabi ni Ms. Reza na na-stifle yung freedom of expression because of vicious attacks. We have had experiences like that. For example, in the news outfit that I had, DZRH, may interview na nangyayari, na-interview yung siguro nasaktan yung mga pro-Duterte supporters, tinadtad yung mga Facebook live namin, mga text line namin, ng vicious attack. Nag-breakdown yung anchor namin doon. And may dumating sa stasyon, paligid-ligid.
Kaya nga, pero attorney, di ba, mga organic to, di ba? Hindi ito, or ano bang analyze na?
We don't know. We didn't do a backtracking and research just like Rappler did. But even our anchors are subject to vicious attack even while they are going on their programs. Kasi open yung lines namin, open ang text line, open ang Facebook Live. Lahat ng platform nandun, so doon ang bakbakan. And kung minsan, kung mahina yung bituka mo, bibigay ka na lang, medyo after the program, mag-breakdown ka na lang. Ganun yung nangyayari. But the platform allows, tama po yung term, exponential kasi ang new media eh. Hindi kagaya ng dati kung linear ang balita. So it goes only from the station to the listener or to the viewer. Dito, na-share, na-re-repost, etc. So exponential, and each person has a community. Ang tawag nga ng mga iba, influencers. They have their own community from which pag natanggap nila, ikakalat nila, yung pinanakatanggap naman, ikakalat ulit. It's different.
Multiplier effect nga eh. Pero
yes.
alam mo, may multiplier effect rin sa radyo kasi actually, kunyari, makikinig tayo ng radyo, di ba? Pero hindi lang nga nakalathala, walang pruweba, more like word of mouth, di ba? Uy, narinig mo ba yung sinabi ni Ted Filon or ni Cesar Chavez o kung sino, di ba? Parang yun yung kwento. Pero yung ngayon, yun nga, nakapost na. I think Senator Pacquiao would like to, sir, would you like to close before we
May I add
move on?
Your Honors. By the way, traditional media has adopted new media also. It has become an inherent part of survival. So news outfits like, in the case of DCRH, has its own social media platforms. It has its own website, etc. But
What's that doing, sir? Is it better than your radio?
well, it exponentially grows your audience. But perhaps there's a difference that because since our roots are in traditional media, the code of ethics that we impose on our new media platform are the same.
There you go. Yeah.
For example, we have a new media policy which reflects, for example, may tanong kanina na yung personal Facebook page ba pinipigilan nyo? Sa amin, ang policy namin is since you are a part of traditional media where credibility is very important, your Facebook and personal accounts should also reflect that credibility. Otherwise, babagsak yung stasyon. So, maybe that's where the difference lies. If we come from traditional media and we adopt new media, generally the culture, the ethics are the same even in those platforms.
And this is where the crux of the matter is, for example, sir, because in traditional media, it's easy to pinpoint a particular group because, let's say, you're publicly listed or you have investors, etc. But with this new media, as Mr. Noco mentioned, Wild Wild West, kanya-kanya. Mr. Lopez is his own entity, Ms. Hover is her own entity, etc. So how do they impose on themselves those ethical standards? Before we delve into that, I would like to give the floor and I would like to thank Senator Pacquiao for his patience. He was here actually ahead of Senator Bam, but he gave way. So, sir, I will give you the floor now to
Thank
ask
you.
all your questions.
Don't worry, I will not leave. I will not leave you.
So I have the ultimate bodyguard, world champion.
Alam ko yan eh. Pare, okay. My question is, do you agree na lahat ng mga vloggers kailangan kumuha ng permit o license para makontrol natin lahat ng mga, siyempre magtatago ka sa ibang anyo, magtatago ka sa ibang mukha, mag-hide ka tapos magpo-post ka ng below the belt. Unfair naman doon sa ibang mga tao. Anyone can answer that.
Senator, can I be the first to? Because there has been an attempt to pass a similar law in the past. Yung i-license ang mga journalists, broadcasters, or otherwise. And the KBP is of the position that this is an infringement.
What I'm talking about is all the bloggers.
Even bloggers for that matter, Senator. Kasi pareho yun. Yung freedom of expression, nalilimita pag gano'n i-requirement. There should be no license to be able to exercise your freedom of expression. We know there are evils, but there are solutions to meet those evils. And licensing, even for bloggers specifically to address the question, first, it's practically impossible to do that.
I mean, we're not stopping them to do their expression. I mean, yes, we have freedom of expression, but what I'm talking about, to malaman lang ng government kung sino itong mga tao na to, hindi tayo maghagilap kung mag-imbestiga pa tayo kung sino itong, at least wala naman sigong problema na ipaalam yung pangalan na ako po si Manny Pacquiao at ito yung blog website ko.
The only end to that is you close the internet. Kasi borderless yung internet, Senator, and if we are going to impose a law in our territory, it's not practical to do that because outside of the country, you can still do your blog and be accessed in the Philippines. So where's the equality of protection there? So maraming issue po yun eh. At it's practically asking for the impossible if you want to control bloggers or those who make use of the internet.
No,
Yun lang po
what I'm
ang-
talking about is not, we're not controlling them. Kailangan lang, hindi naman din kinokontrol sila, kundi i-register lang para malaman ng government kung sino itong mga vloggers na ito. Para bang proposing a national ID. Tapos, high-tech na tayo. Kayo nagsabi na ang technology natin ngayon, ibang klase na way back 20 years ago. So, kailangan din mag-level up the way we process lang mga ganitong sitwasyon. Kaya maraming problema eh. Hindi tayo, kailangan mag-improve din tayo eh. Like, kailangan ma-register lahat for example, prepaid phone, mag-register lahat ng mga vloggers para naman hindi tayo kung ano mga problema in case na may problema hindi madadamay ang ilang mga katulad dito hindi naka-register lahat ng mga vloggers, so pagka may investigation lahat ng mga vloggers imbestigahan dahil hindi natin alam kung sino itong mga vloggers na ito.
So, ang tingin ko po dyan, sorry, Mr. Chair, I think that kind of legislation would be struck down by the Supreme Court as unconstitutional. Precisely po because it restricts on the right to free speech. I think, I'm not very good at history, but I think during the Philippine Revolution, our own national heroes engaged in anonymous speech or pseudonymous speech. In other words, they wrote under pseudonyms. Importante po yon. Importante yung karapatan ng isang tao na makapagsulat, ma-express yung sarili niya nang hindi nalalaman ng kanyang identity. Kasi pag nalaman ng kanyang identity, nagiging target po siya nung state. In the case po ng mga revolutionaries po, nung Spanish, the Kingdom of Spain. So yun po yung problema. Pag finorce po natin ang mga bloggers na i-identify ang sarili nila, then ang mangyayari po, ma-restrict yung ability nila to express themselves. In fact, Ms. Jover Laurio is a perfect example.
Yes, I understand what you're talking about. But because on that martial law issue, on Marcos time, that's based on 1935 Constitution. But we are now in 1987 Constitution, which is there's a freedom of expression. And what I'm talking about here, what I want here is to have accountability, each and every one of us. Wala namang problema siguro ma-register. Bakit mahihiya sa pangalan natin? Mahihiya ka ba sa pangalan mo? Mahihiya ka ba sa... Hindi man siguro tayo mahihiya sa pangalan natin.
Ang mga vlogger po kasi, they're a different, ibang klase sila na, I think the bloggers will agree with me, na ang vlogger po, na nagkakaroon siya ng following precisely because identified siya. Madalang po yung vlogger na nagtatago. At second po, binibuild up po niya yung reputation niya. So, ang vlogger po, hindi ho sila yung problema natin ngayon kasi ang mga vlogger, like, in fact, madalang po ang vlogger na anonymous kasi pag anonymous ka na vlogger, kung tutusin po, mahirap mag-build ng reputation kasi hindi mo nalalaman kung saan galing, anong affiliation ng tao. So actually, medyo phenomenon yung nangyari sa Pinoy Ako Vlog na despite na anonymous siya, nagkaroon siya ng following. Ang isang tao po na nagtatago, mahirap pong mag-build up ng following as a vlogger. So ang vlogger po talaga, necessarily po ina-identify niya yung sarili niya. Ang problema po natin, yung sa Facebook po, madami mga fake accounts. Accounts na hindi naman talagang natin malaman kung sino. Tapos nagpo-post po sila dun sa mga comments, nagpo-post sila ng hateful speech or kung minsan po nagte-threaten sila, papatayin nila o magre-rape sila nung isang tao na hindi sila nag-agree dun sa opinion. Yun po ang problema. Yung solution po siguro doon, baka kung, isang bagay po na tinitingnan rin ng US Congress, kung pwedeng ayusin ng Facebook yung ability nila na pigilan yung mga tao na mag-set up ng fake account, given na nagkakaroon, especially may mga gantong klase po na pangyayari. Kasi parang na-overwhelm rin po ang Facebook sa dami po ng mga fake account, tapos nagba-violate po na kanilang mga community standards. So, unfortunately po, parang yun yung
Your
I want to
Honor,
ask direct question na what's the purpose na ayaw nyong i-register o ma-register lang yung mga vloggers? what's purpose or intention?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Gutierrez.
Paul Gutierrez, sir, National Press Club. Only last week, galing po ako sa 19th General Assembly ng Confederation of ASEAN Journalists kung saan isa ang National Press Club sa kasamang nagtayo nito noong 1975. At ang isa na pong malaking problema ngayon, maski ng mga lehitimong mamamahayag sa buong rehiyon, ay ito nga pong problema ng fake news. In fact, this coming July, we will be going to Thailand, particularly para pag-usapan region-wide ng mga mamamahayag, ng mga lehitimong mamamahayag at responsableng mamahayag ang problema ng fake news. Talaga pong malaki ang problema. For example, sa buong ASEAN po, masasabi natin sa Pilipinas lang po talaga hindi nire-rehistro ang media. In fact, sa Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, you are required to register with the government. Ang naging problema po, for example, sa Indonesia, itong mga problema nila sa fake news, meron silang tinatawag na press council, pinarehistro lahat yung mga nasa online, yung mga vloggers, yung mga mainstream media. But pagdating po sa mainstream media, I think according to the report rendered by our colleagues there, pagdating sa 50,000 news sites or websites or blog sites, tumigil na po sila sa pagre-rehistro kasi 50,000 isipin niyan. Paano nyo i-monitor lahat yan kung ilan ang peke dyan, ilan ng lehitimo. So malaki po talagang problema to, kaya sana po araling mabuti ng ating mga mambabatas.
Yes.
Ang may dagdag ko lang po, Mr. Senator, on our part po siguro sa National Press Club, which is bahagi po ng mainstream media, what is important here po siguro ay yung tinatawag nating self-regulation. In our case, sinasala na po namin kaagad ngayon yung sino lang ang pwedeng maging kasapi ng press club by setting a minimum membership qualification standards. Kasi importante po yun na masala natin on our own level kung sino yung mga tinitingnan nating karapat dapat maging miyembro ng media. At siguro po dito, along that line, ay lagi po namin inire-remind sa aming mga miyembro na meron tayong code of standards or ethics na kailangan po nating sundin sa paggawa ng ating tungkulin. At ang isa na po rito ay yung pong when we are called out dahil mali yung report mo, sabihin na natin hindi naman fake news, mali talaga yung detalye ng balita mo. I think you've experienced this. Pag mali ang we can demand dun sa publication o sa reporter, itama mo yung maling detalye o impormasyon na kasama sa balita mo. Ang problema po kasi natin dito ngayon sa nakikita namin, meron po tayong dalawang magkalaban din na kultura. Yung culture of impunity, yung mga nagiging abusado, at yung pong mga culture of entitlement na dahil ako'y kasapi ng media, I can do whatever I want. Magsusulat ko ang gusto kong isulat, i-publish ko ang gusto kong i-publish without taking the other side, which is responsibility. May I just cite one example, Mr. Chairman. Noon pong April 2015, meron pong kaming dating Pangulo ng National Press Club na hinuli sa airport. Dito po yan sa NAIA for libel. And immediately, yung pong isang media group ay naglabas ng statement, dinidenounce po yung pagka-aresto for libel because it happened on a weekend. Ang masakit po dito, doon sa kanilang statement, in-identify po nila yung Chief of Police ng Maynila, hindi na po yun ang Chief of Police nun So mali po yung pangalan. And then they made, and when called na mali yung ginamit nilang pangalan, nag-issue sila ng panibagong statement. In-identify yung tamang police official, mali naman po rango. So, when they were asked to retract or correct, hindi naman po nila ginawa. So, I think that is part of what we at the National Press Club has been calling for. Kailangan tayo maging mga responsableng mamamahayag, mga responsableng bahagi ng media community. Kung may mali tayo, correct natin. Hindi yung pagka nagkamali tayo, we will issue other statement claiming violation nyo ng press freedom. I don't think that is the case here, Mr. Chairman.
That's what I'm thinking about. But before that, may I recognize the presence of my colleague Senator Joel Villanueva. Hindi pala gatsal yan. Anyway, let's continue. Yes.
Good afternoon, Senator Pacquiao. I'm a blogger.
What's your name?
Noemi Dado.
Dado.
Blog Watch. As a blogger, it's important na we have our credibility and we're accountable sa readers namin. Matagal na kaming blogger since 2000, mid-2000. Kaya importante namin na we are accountable to our readers. So, sa pag-register, I'm registered here in the Senate as one of the bloggers to cover. And sometimes other like Congress, minsan nagsa-sign up ako. And minsan sa PCOO when they invite me to events. So sa mga ganyan, hindi naman siya permanent as a blogger. So and every blogger has a community. They have their own set of standards. Sa amin sa Blogwatch, matagal na kami since GMA pa kay Arroyo. And we cover not only local news, we cover international. Kaya even kung hindi kami registered abroad, they still invite us. So I don't think it's necessary to be registered sa national registry.
Alam nyo, yung mga vloggers, okay, kasi pag hindi naka-register yan, madadama yung mga mabubuting intention. Madadama yun dun sa mga vloggers na, alam mo yung ibig ko sabihin, yung mga gumagawa lang ng masama, may mga nagtatago sa ibang pangalan, may mga ganun kasi. Kaya para sa akin, mas mabuti i-register na lang lahat ng mga vloggers. Total, alam nyo, ito I don't know if they're paying taxes kasi gumikita din naman yung mga vloggers. Huwag nyo,
Hindi, alam mo, actually ganito, Senator Pacquiao has made his point, and also Professor Dicini has mentioned, like even in the past, I think it was you who mentioned that historically, those that fought against the establishment would use a pseudonym. And I would still protect that. And I believe that it's the choice of the individual whether or not they want to divulge their identity. It is up to the public to be able to determine and to put their blind trust on somebody who does not even have, let's say, the courage to come out with their own identities. It's up to the readers. That's why we just have to keep them informed. On the other hand, here's also, Senator Pacquiao has raised a good point. There are certain blogs that are already commercial blogs that make money out of their influence. And I think that with the NBI's help, and I think we can also be able to check the trend. For example, may lumalabas na isang beauty product na palaging lumalabas dun sa blog na yon, o kaya merong isang personality na palaging yun ang pinupure, I think naman it goes against already the impartiality of that blogger, and perhaps that blogger is already making a business out of his blog, his or her blog. I think that person already will have responsibility to the to pay the right taxes. Kasi marami dyan, para nagiging, hindi natin matuon na libo-libo ang tinatanggap pero hindi naman nagfa-file ng tax. Hihingi natin ngayon ng tulong ng NBI. You should be able to be circumspect. You should be proactive in saying, this blog, hindi natin alam kung sino ito, pero ito yung IP address, pero mukhang marami na nag-a-advertise sa site na to. Imposible na hindi ito kumikita. Doon, dapat sila maging responsable.
Talagang kumikita. So, I think, thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Importante talaga ma-register, Madam Chair, yung mga vloggers natin. Kasi, unang-una, kumikita sila. May kakilala akong vloggers.
Sino?
Hindi. May kakilala ko, Madam Chair, na vlogger. Kumikita siya ng malaki sa mga advertisement. Pero
iba yung fee schedule pag Manny Pacquiao. Iba naman pag
kumikita ng advertisement. Pero what I'm thinking about, if our intention is tama, hindi tayo matatakot na i-receive dahil kayo na nga nagsabi na high-tech na yung technology natin ngayon. Dapat we improve also. Kailangan kasi parang mabibihay naman ang government diyan pagdating sa mga ganyan. Halimbawa, kumikita ang tao na dapat may taxes tayong babayaran. Hindi na nakolekta ng gobyerno dahil hindi nga naka-register. For example, hindi ko lang i-mention yung pangalan. Marami siyang mga...
Konti pa. Sino-sino?
Marami
Ano
siyang
itsura? Maliit ba?
propaganda doon
Mataba
sa
ba? Payat?
website niya. So, binabasa. And then, nagbabayad yun. Malaki ang kita nun. So, ang ibig kong sabihin is, hindi naman ito stopping you for freedom of expression, stopping you na ipahayag ang nasa loob ninyo. Ito ay kasi ako rin pinag-isipan ko rin maging media din kaya ako, magagawa din ako ng vlog. Pero anyway, ang gusto ko lang malaman dito is dapat hindi natin lahat ng gagawin natin sana is yung hindi makakaano sa ating government. No, tutulungan din natin yung government kung sa ganon. Unang-una, pag may mga investigation, ma-locate ka agad kung sino itong tao na to. Pangalawa, ang government, makukulikta yung dapat makulikta ng government. So, marami tayong magagawa na tulong na pwede natin gawin para sa government natin. Anyway, kanina ko pa gustong itanong
Honor,
what's your position, Badoy?
Undersecretary po.
Undersecretary.
Your Honor. Yeah.
I'm still not forget that what you did to me last election. I'm sure you remember that.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
You do
Can you
remember
refresh
that?
our memory, or would you rather not rehash that?
Yes,
Was
she
it
said
fake
yes.
news, Senator?
Yeah, I still remember na nagpinicture mo yung bahay ng tao ko, and then sabi mo, this is the house of the mistress of Manny Pacquiao, ganyan, and I'm a Christian, and like that, and a lot of things. But anyway, I forgive you, but I want you to say sorry in front of me.
Sir, Your Honor, may I please give the context to all of this?
Yes,
It was in reaction, Your Honor, to what you said, which was very hurting. As I am not lesbian, gay,
No,
bisexual.
no,
It was because of your
We're not,
reaction.
I'm not talking LGBT here or anything. Your personal comment and you post it, ganyan. Ito ba ang Christian? Ito ba ang ano? Kasi ito yung house ng mistress niya. Pinicturan ko, may campaign car pa. Ito yung... Pero hindi nga ako nakapunta pa doon eh. Hindi pa ako nakapunta doon at bahay yun ng tao ko.
So, Ms. Badoy,
sabi
totoo,
mo nung
alam na
magtatanong-
ba ninyo ngayon, klaro na hindi yun bahay ng kanyang mistress? Ma'am,
Oh, but may I please be allowed to give
dahil
the
wala
context?
naman daw siyang mistress.
Ito yung gusto ko lang basahin yung sinabi mo. Guess what I saw when I went on a run this morning in my village? Manny Pacquiao's campaign car in front of his mistress' house.
Your Honor, may I please explain myself before I give you an apology?
Go ahead.
Before I give you my
Go ahead.
proper apology, Your Honor. What you said about the LGBT community was very hurting to me. It really hurts me because a lot of people who are very close to my heart belong to that community, and when you call them masahol pa sa hayop, that really hurts.
I will tell you this, Badoy. I will tell you this. I have pamangkin, bakla. I have tiyo, bakla. Marami akong pamangkin na bakla. Marami akong mga trabahante na bakla. Ang dami kong mga trabahante na bakla. May trabahante ako na tumboy. Kung pupuntahan mo lang sa Jensan, ang dami kong mga bakla. Lagi kami naglalaro ng volleyball. Naglalaro ako ng volleyball. Lagi ko silang kasama, lagi ko silang kalaro. Yan yung totoo, naintindihan nila yung sinabi kasi yung vlog na yung pag-edit na yon nang nilabas yon, hindi pinalabas yung totoong explanation ko. Pinoto lang yung sinabi ko. Yun yung ano na yon, yung story
So
na yon.
let's just chalk it up to differences in opinion. Pero kasi doktor din po ako, so yung homosexuality matagal nang tinanggal sa diagnostic and statistical manual. So that's also, besides being hurtful, it was also from the medical standpoint.
Miss Badoy,
po.
so obviously may pinanghuhugutan kayo. Naiintindihan ko,
Yes.
syempre, ako man, kahit na nirerespeto ko siyang kasama dito sa Senado, hindi naman kami pareho sa pananaw.
Correct.
But naniniwala rin ako sa karapatan niya, sa paniniwala niya sa kanyang reliyon, yun ang kanyang opinion. Pero siguro balikan natin yung hinanaing din ng ating kasama dito. So, alam ninyo ngayon hindi totoo pala yung nasulat niyo.
Can I continue po?
Yes, go ahead.
It's in line with what you are saying, Mr. Senator, about yung pag-anonymous yung blog, di ba? Kahit na ano pwede mong sabihin. Gusto ko sanang sabihin na hindi po pwedeng gawan ng bata. The internet is very free. By its very nature, the nature of the beast. Bago ho siyang frontier.
Yes,
So para ang hindi niyo po pwedeng gawan ng batas yung kindness, yung compassion, yung decency, yung courage. So parang yung natutunan ko po in all these years sa blogging and being online is napakalaking bagay na maging compassionate ka at maging fair ka. Kaya which is why I think I owe you an apology because I did hurt you. And I'm very sorry, but and I hope you understand that it came from
No,
a
ma'am.
place
It's
that
not
was
just
very-
because you hurt him. The accuracy of your
Exactly.
narrative.
Well, that's also it.
Yeah,
Your-
okay. Please make it clear because, we're hurt a lot of times, but sometimes the truth hurts. But in the case, it hurts even more if it's untrue. So just clarify for the record, ma'am.
Madam Chair, I've been on the receiving end of a lot of lies and inaccuracies. So I do know finally how it feels like.
Oh, how did you come up? Maybe we'll just do it this way. There's no refuting, ma'am. You're following your intelligence and in being able to write these narratives. But can you tell me how were you able to come up with that assumption that that particular structure belongs to the mistress of?
Because it's a village where the
So-
magtataho and
So that was your source.
and the guards and that sort of thing.
But now you know it's not true. So
yeah, which is
Okay.
why I've apologized to the good senator.
okay.
I
Will you
having been on
accept
the receiving end of a lot of lies as well by anonymous blogs. I do know how it feels now. And I guess this is what this whole internet thing is asking from all of us, to be a bit more compassionate and decent. Attorney JJ is not here anymore, but he was saying the nobility of anonymous blogs by history. But right now, what we see are anonymous blogs with a hidden agenda.
So
There's that as well. I'm
So-
sorry, did I make my apology as clear as I can, Mr. Senator?
So Miss Badoy, isa ka rin na that's a fake news. What you did is a fake news. Kasi pinost mo sa account mo and then ganito, this is tas marami pa yung nakalagay doon and then it's hurt but
Did you correct it, ma'am? Sorry, Senator Pacquiao. Were you able to correct it in your blog? That no, it's not accurate. You
No, I
haven't.
never did.
Okay, well, anyway, so let this. Hopefully, you can do it, but maybe
That was,
that's
I
old
think, 3
news.
years ago.
excuse me?
That
That's
was 2 years or 3 years ago.
2 years ago during election.
Sir, Mr. Senator, I think there is a lesson here po that we live in a world that's getting closer to each other, and that if you say something that's hurtful, that hurt will be there is a chance that hurt will be brought back to your home, to your doorstep. So there's that. That when we
What's hurt? What hurt? Do you understand the do you know the real message, the exact message that I'm talking about in that news? Hindi mo kasi kasi yun lang nakikita mo eh.
No, sir. I listened to the whole tape. I'm not Christian, by the way, so we
Madam
do not
Chair,
share the
if I
same
may, I'm
beliefs.
sorry,
no?
Madam Chair. Is the distinguished undersecretary justifying what she did after she apologized? I'm just confused, Madam Chair. Is she justifying what she did? If that's the case, then I don't think it's an apology.
No. I see some remorse. I mean, I'm a woman. I see that you know you've made a mistake. On the other hand, I think that it's important also to be very clear that it's a mistake, if there's been an apology, maybe that's the best way you can express it. It's not justified. I mean, all the other conditions, for example, the magtataho or whoever else, I think that, I guess we go back, since you're already quite prominent, you already have a following, you're out in the open, it's not a bad thing to be able to follow on your own an ethical standard, especially Secretary, you're now under Secretary Andanar. So, yeah, you're right. It's a lesson learned, moving forward. We do not condone such a thing, and certainly, I think that we don't want to use the Senate as a forum for our own vendetta.
In fact,
but it is just an example that we know. That's why I gave the floor to Senator
thank you,
Pacquiao.
Madam Chair. In fact, I want to file a case on that issue, but as a Christian, being a Christian is not. We have the authority, which is the government. Even if I forgive you, but there's a authority, which means the government, na lahat ng tao, lahat tayo ay kailangan sumunod at sumunod sa batas. Anybody or somebody will disobey the government, the authority, kailangan maparusahan. Pero alam niyo, hindi na ako nag-action because somebody talk to me ganyan, talk to me somebody somebody talk to me about you. So hindi ko na pinag-isipan kung mabuti, and then now nakaharap na kita, gusto kong marinig sa bibig mo na sabihin mo sa akin, at saka ma-feel ko yan kung if you really sincere to your apology. Are you sincere to your apology?
Your Honor, when I hurt people's feelings, I am very sincere about my apology.
Thank you. I accept that. Being a Christian, we practice being a Christian because that's a world. But let's continue to question.
May I say something, though?
Na-post tayo dyan, nahinto
Okay,
tayo
then I
dyan.
would like to go to Mr. Paulo Romero, who is actually a dual role now. He has to cover also this. I would like to hear his inputs before he has to leave at 1. Okay, please, ma'am.
This is,
Quickly.
as I was saying earlier, this is a world that's getting closer we're getting closer to each other. And I only say this not as a way of excusing myself. The apology was very real, but this is one of those things that I've thought of, having been on both ends, that we do affect each other very much. So when you put hate out there, you will expect at least to you'd better be ready for that hate to come back. So I've been trying my best, as honest as I can tell you, to take that hate out of my posts. I stick to the issues, and that's
Thank
it.
you. That's very reassuring. And especially that you are under the PCOO and you have a following. You can start this trend. I mean, it just takes somebody who would come up with this idea, then everybody will think, oh, maybe that's a fad now. It starts out as a fad and later on it becomes a habit.
Which
But-
I think is an answer to
Yes.
to this whole thing, your Honor, your Madam Chair, that there is no answer. There is no remedy to this. The internet by itself is the nature of the beast, to be as free as it is.
Right.
So I think that the answer to this is that we really police ourselves. Go back to ourselves, and
Correct.
that's it.
I believe
That's
that.
the best
I've
that I
always
can come up with,
advocated
because
that.
I've thought about this whole thing.
I advocated that even when I was MTRCB chair, that we need self-regulation because we cannot possibly put a government agent in every household to monitor what children are watching. So we just have to remind, self-regulate. Parents, check what your kids are reading. Bloggers, I appeal to your moral standard to be able to police yourself. But are you related to Gang Badoy also? Okay, another very talented researcher and writer who's also been harassed, whose Facebook page has been shut. Anyway, to give way to one...
May I just just raise one point, Madam Chair. First of all, I'd like to say this. We appreciate your statements, Yusek, because it's about time that when we see that it's something wrong, we can we would have the guts to say that we were wrong and we are sorry and we apologize. And we are Christians and we know how to forgive. We know how to forget. And just to put also on record that we are also living perhaps in a more transparent world wherein we're being bashed every single day. We are used to being the punching bag of a lot of bloggers every single day. And it's up to us whether or not we'll be affected or... But the good thing about what you did today is that we know that some bloggers are actually accountable for their work. Unfortunately, the gray area comes in when we say we can do and say anything we want because there's no law that prohibits us from doing it. We are accountable only to our followers. What if, if something happens, like the same example that we were talking about, the damage has been done to Senator Manny. What if Senator Manny didn't win the last election because of that? There are so many countries right now na na-elect yung mga leaders nila because of false news, fake news. And we say, yeah, because we're only accountable to our followers. So, nandun eh. Kanina po, habang nagdi-discuss, si Madam Chair, nabanggit yung, for example, if you are a government official and you are a blogger at the same time, paano mo bang babalansin yun? I don't know the answer. Please help us. I don't know the answer. How do you balance it? When there comes a time na it's so crystal clear that this fake news is being state-sponsored, parang mahirap naman po yata ang tanggapin yun.
Sa tingin mo, state-sponsored
No,
na yan?
what I'm saying is, if that is the case.
If that's the case, okay.
So, what do? And we say, no, because it's blogging and it's not real news. So, where's the accountability there? And then, pag sinita mo, it's freedom of expression. I'm sure, when you talk about freedom of expression, hindi absolute ito. May accountability. I think that's the essence of this hearing. What we wanted to see here is what solutions ang pwede nating makuha from this hearing.
Yun nga parang we're trying to contain an ocean, which is quite difficult, so we have to pick. But Senator Pacquiao has just a short manifestation before we move on.
Anyway, I accept, Ms. Badoy, I accept your sorry. Who am I to put grievance against you? But I want you to correct that blog in your account na kasi nandiyan pa rin siya pag i-google mo, nandoon pa rin sa blog mo eh. Nandoon pa rin siya yung blog mo nung 2 years ago. Nandoon pa rin yung blog. Can you correct that or i-rescind mo o tanggalin mo?
Nagalit na raw si Miss Pacquiao, si Jinky. Can you take it out, ma'am?
I didn't know it was still there. Yes, I will, Your Honor.
Okay,
No,
thank
no
you.
problem, yes.
Thank you, Ms. Badoy. I'm not, hindi ako galit sa'yo. Okay lang. I forgive you.
Fan niyo ho ako.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Can we go very quickly with Mr. Romero? Sir, you're one of the, very prolific writers, also very hardworking of the Philippine Star. I'd like to know what standards you employ and how are you able to check propaganda ba ito? Nagpapapogi lang ba itong senador na to? Paano mo pinipiling storya nyo? And who are you accountable for in your publication, sir?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess as a journalist, we all follow the usual standards of fact-checking, maybe interviewing multiple sources, researching, and that's how we come out with our product. And I guess in politics, maybe political reporting, relatively, for example, in the Senate, you could, if one senator on the other side of the political fence would say something, then naturally you would have to get the side of the other
Was
one
there
on the other
any
side.
time in your professional experience that you had to retract something that you wrote and have done so, sir?
Not that I recall, but maybe just some correction on the following day of something that I have written. Maybe some reminders or even scolding from my editors on the way I wrote it, or maybe some details I missed out. It's pointed out by my sources or the one that I interviewed. That's mostly the case. And
Was there ever a time where you believed in a particular news information where you were struck down by your editors from publishing it?
Several times.
What would the reason be? Would it be their political inclination, or would it be because of a a tenuous situation?
In the case of newspapers, mostly it would be, not necessarily in this order, but sometimes it's lack of space, or sometimes it's something that could be better written the following day, given with the lack of details, or the other side of the issue that must be taken by another set of reporters on maybe in other parts of the country, or maybe in another branch of government is not there yet, so it's struck down. And sometimes maybe they think I wrote it not in the way that it would pass their standards.
Okay, do you have your own personal blog?
No, I refrain from doing that. Even my Twitter account is just purely for news.
Because of conflict?
Yes, because I might say something that would color.
And you're not an opinion writer?
No,
Right.
no. I
See.
specifically refrain that. Some may have two accounts and they will say it's personal, and well, of course I respect that, but I deliberately refrain to.
Do you really respect that? Like, if you were a straight news writer, you think it's ethical to have your own personal blog?
Well, it's okay if you do that, except that you would have the added responsibility, and maybe even you would be of making this distinction of you as a journalist and you as somebody, a private person, talking about your own opinion, and for the public that would be something that would be easily used against you, because
Right.
I mean, how would they
Reconcile?
not only that, they would, if they don't believe you that you were just actually being objective, I mean, no matter what you say, there's something that could be used against you because of your opinion that you aired in your blog
That's
or
right.
column or any other.
How about okay, let me just go shortly here. I think I would like to make a point. We're talking about bloggers here, but even mainstream media, we know that, of course, they make mistakes, they editorialize as well. They take editorial liberties. In my case, it's not necessarily fake news, but I appeal to PCOO. Okay. So aside from communicating, are you also the ones collating the news to present to members of the cabinet or the president himself so that he knows what's going on, or they know what's going on in the country? I'd like to know, sir.
Yes, Madam Chair. I usually send the snapshots of all the banners of different newspapers at 5 o'clock in the morning and send it to the president, or the person who sends the message to the president. And I also do the news analysis.
I know, Secretary, see, here's where the problem will lie, okay? I know that everybody's pressed for time, and especially the Commander-in-Chief. On the other hand, if we rely on the banner story, that's where the problem actually escalates. Let me give you an example. And first, I would like to qualify this as
intimidation and harassment, yung pag-post ng comments. Pwede yung napaka-vibrant, napaka-partisan, pero not necessarily abusive and harmful.
actually, you know what, Mr. Cruz, thank you for raising that. I agree. Let's be honest here. The president and his style being straightforward is exactly the reason why the people voted for him. They didn't want the superficial
Phony.
decorum of certain
Phony
government
and shallow.
individuals na pinagmamalaki, disente sila. Pag hinaharap, pero alam mo naman sa likod, nantitira rin. Nakita din natin yon. On the other hand, there's also that, syempre, you already assume the mandate, and it's also a chance to be able to spread the proper way of acting. I think you can certainly do that. As you said, Miss Badoy, diba, you're also affected by other people being hurt. It's good to know that you're sensitive also, that you have compassion. It certainly wouldn't be bad for us to treat each other kindly. Diba? Parang a lot of we can go a long way by respect and by being kind. After a while, it becomes so tiresome and so anti-productive also if we're always combative with each other. Mr. Lopez, would you like to add to our discussion? Any thoughts on what we've discussed?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, nagpunta ako rito para malinawan dito sa fake news, pero parang lalo akong naguluhan. At alam nyo, sa isang ordinaryong mamamayan, ang fake news parang mali din nga ho yung term. Tama si Professor David na mali ho yung term na fake news. Dahil ito naman nung nangyayari sa atin, lalo na sa social media, is more of opinion making and sinasabi niyo po yung nararamdaman niyo. And social media, yung mga tinatawag po na vloggers, they are only as good as their last post. At di ko lang ma-gets, bakit ho dito sa hearing, parang nag-focus ho tayo dun sa messenger at wala ho yata nag-ano dun sa message. Dahil yung mga vloggers ho na yan, kaya ho nagkaroon ng mga following kasi ho nagre-resonate yung kanilang mga sinasabi sa mga ordinaryong tao.
I agree. Tama yun. Ilan po yung followers niyo, Mr. Lopez? Kayo?
Ako po, minor lang po ako, 35,000 lang po.
Next time, pagkatapos itong hearing, 70 ka na.
Hindi actually, ayoko nga akong tawagin na followers yung mga sumusunod sa akin because I don't have that delusion po na ako ay sinusundan. Ang sa akin nagre-resonate lang ho yung sinusulat ko. And then, the evolution of social media is now the revolution. Facebook is now the new EDSA. And ang mga ordinaryong tao po, sinasabi ko nga, and then I take exception nga do sa study na present ni Ms. Reza, na parang state-sponsored ang patriotic trolling, hindi naman ho yan limited din, tama yung sinabi ni Asik Badoy. Yan hong patriotic trolling, hindi lang naman sa sinatawag nilang pro Duterte. Even the opposition has its own trolling.
No, I agree. And you know what? Also, I think it's unfair to say na puro mga trolling lang. Marami doon, they firmly believe in what they're saying, which could be sad, for some of us.
And
we feel it's
yun
not
nga po, yung fake news, matagal na ho yan Even before social media came into play. Ang fake news po, mag-advertise lang ang isang fast food na ang ganda-ganda ng picture ng hamburger nila, pero pag binili mo yung hamburger, flat na wala naman talagang laman. Is that fake news?
Ngayon kasi may hate there's so much hate na you wouldn't believe, for example, somebody would tell you na ma-rape ka sana, yung anak mo mamatay.
Opo, Senator, I agree na meron pong hate. But again po, I think nasa sa tao din naman yan na ang problema ko kasi natin, yung masyado tayong galit dun sa vlogger, pero dapat to siguro tinitingnan natin yung message niya at bakit to yung maraming tao na nakaka-relate. Ngayon, kung sobra naman ho ang hate, simple lang naman ho. Patayin natin yung ating, turn off natin yung ating gadgets. But again, the point is, ang di ko rin din ho, no, yung tinatawag nyo dito o yung trying to control social media, actually po, sa mga vloggers din, meron naman yung tinatawag na accountability, lalo na kung humaharap kami na personal. Ako, personal akong nagsusulat, pangalan ko ho yun, kaya naglalagay ho ako ng itsura ko. At pag meron ho akong kausap, sinasabi ko, kung gusto mo, magkita tayo. Meron na nga akong mga hinarap sa kabilang bakod. Dahil pinakita ko, dahil nga ho, I take a section ho
Ano
doon talaga.
nangyari pag nakikita kayo? Nako-convince mo, nagsusuntok
Well,
kayo?
hindi naman ho kami aabot sa violence. But again, ang point ko lang po is that pinapakita ko sa kanila na hindi ho ako paid troll. Kanina ho, binanggit ni Mr. Cruz na may umaattend kami ng mga government functions. Pero ako, nagbabayad ako ng pamasahe ko papunta ron.
Sir, ano po yung trabaho ninyo aside from being a vlogger na pinagkakitaan ninyo?
Ma'am, ako po ay small-time trader lang po and meron lang po akong cafe and car wash. Dati ho akong executive ng isang oil company at itong pagpunta ko sa Facebook, nag-start on 2013 when hit our country. And doon lang po nung marami ho akong mga sinusulat, nagkaroon ho ng following. But again, sabi ko nga po...
May pamilya po kayo, single kayo?
Pa?
May pamilya kayo, single?
Meron po. I have 4 daughters po.
So, una natin banggitin muna yung pangalan dito. Ano
Eh,
nilalabas mo sa vlog mo?
Open po ako. Kasi nga ho, wala akong tinatago eh. Kaya nga yung sinasabi ko ng accountability, kami naman, lahat naman nang nakikita nyo siguro sa mga vloggers, humaharap naman po. Kaya, at ang maganda po niyan, at that moment na tinira kayo, o nasaktan kayo ng vlogger na yon, pwede nyo naman harapin eh. Pwede naman kayo mag-send ng message. Pwede nyo sagutin, pwede kayo mag-comment. Ang problema ho, pagka binablock kayo.
Pero kayo ngayon, well, of course, you believe in the president, okay? But have you said anything critical about the administration?
Yes, I have been bashed by my own group po. Dahil...
On what particular topic?
Yung recent po, yung I called the attention of Malacanang po dun sa pictorial ng granddaughter.
Okay.
I was bashed. But I took it in stride po. I took everything ho.
Sino nag-bash sa'yo nakilala?
Mga ano ho, mga ordinaryong tao, mga... Kasi ho, ito nga ang problema sa atin ngayon eh. Ang tao natin, ang mga ordinaryong mamen, engage ho ngayon. Sobrang engage po. Kaya makikita po natin na itong Facebook, according to the study nga, 60 million ng Filipino users ng Facebook, talagang ano ho yan. At dadagsain ka, dudumugin ka pag meron ka hong hindi magandang sinabi sa isang tao. Not only with the president, but pagka naman doon ka sa kabilang bakod, ganun din naman no, dudumugin ka rin ang mga kabilang bakod. So it's actually both ways po eh.
Mr. Lopez, thank you. I appreciate your honest insight. First, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Nancy Binay. But you know, before I would like to, before we continue, no, I want to ask another blogger here to comment, and then I would like to hear from Miss Lauria because she's also been victimized, but she's also been very blunt about certain issues. So we'd like to hear her in the flesh here in the hearing. So your name again, ma'am? I'm sorry, I can't see your name, please. No, you raising your hand. You, yes. Miss Jane, please go ahead. Blog Watch.
Hello, good afternoon, Madam Chair. I've been a blogger since 2006 and I've been online even before that time. And social media was not yet around when I started blogging. My circle of bloggers then were just blogging for the passion and the desire to speak our minds. None of us were in the political arena. So, at that time, we saw social media from the very beginning. And this was sometime 2007 or 2008 when we got into Twitter and Facebook. And when 2009 came around and we were looking at the 2010 automated elections, a group of us realized that we could use that social media and harness it for something good. And so we came together as Blogwatch. We were a very loose group of people. We were not even blogging about politics. We were food, travel, mommy bloggers like my colleague here, Noemi. Travel, lifestyle.
Can you tell me what in your group has the highest number following? What name? What blog? Mommy Blogger is her name. Women Who Lunch. What?
Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Is there a particular blog that? Can you give me a name of the one of the blog that is part of your group?
Oh, the original group, we were about 16 or 19 bloggers.
No, but you have your individual blogs.
But we are
correct?
yes, we have individual
So which blog
blogs.
in your group has the most number following, and give me the name of that blog, just so we can relate if maybe we've come across it.
Okay, maybe Mom Blogger.
Mom Blogger. Okay.
Yeah.
How many followers?
It depends on which platform because she has followers. She may want to answer.
Ma'am, how many?
Depends. If it's my food blog, it's 800,000 in Facebook. If it's Twitter, it's around 24,000.
800,000 in food blog.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Okay.
In Facebook.
So what's the newest food recommendation? Never mind. Let's talk about that later. Go ahead.
So when Blogwatch was set up, we were basically set up for voter education because we were trying to use our network. Eventually, we transformed. After the 2010 elections, when we were able to interview some of the presidentiables and the senatoriables, and I think some of those here were interviewed by our group, we realized that, as citizens, we had a voice already. And we saw that on social media. And so that's the reason why we stayed on, and we stayed on social media, because we wanted to get into citizen engagement. And that's what I'm really trying to emphasize now, because when people talk about bloggers bashing and doing hate speech, I really feel very bad about it, because we came from a world where we wanted to use our networks to do something good. And we
So
felt
to
that
be
that
part
was...
of your organization, ma'am, do you have an ethical standard or
Yes.
an agreement? Give me an example. That's something
Okay, we started out with our domain name, which was blogwatch.ph. That was when we were hosted under the Philippine Online Chronicles or Vibal Foundation. Now we are continuing it under a new domain name, blogwatch.tv, although you will still see our archives from blogwatch.ph there. So we're now a blog. We've got our disclaimers. We have our corrections policy. We have listed down who are the people who form part of our editorial board. And even if we do not have what we call, we are not bound by the journalistic standards, because we don't claim to be journalists. We're not trained to be journalists, but we impose it on ourselves. And the reason we do that is because we cannot separate our identity as a citizen advocate from our identity as a mommy blogger or as a food blogger. Why? Because we need to retain that sense of credibility. The only thing we have that will make us continue to be read by our readers is the reputation of saying what is true. If we start saying things which are not true, even if it was not in the realm of politics, hindi na kami babasahin. Nobody will look at us anymore. So that is very important to us. And that is the reason why our blogwatch.tv site has all of these policies.
Okay, to our viewers and listeners, don't forget that, what's the name?
Blogwatch.tv. You can look at it right now.
Blogwatch.tv.
Yes.
And I mentioned this because we go to, with due respect, just 1 minute. We go to a particular site for different reasons. We want the accurate news, or we want to be entertained, or we want to connect. So it depends. Diba? If you want credible news, accurate news, at least we know that a group is trying to be accountable in that way. But the truth is, certain bloggers are popular precisely because they're just entertaining. Or, I don't want to have to advertise, but sometimes when you're in the Senate, you're in a very controlled environment. Okay, unless you go out of your way to visit your constituents, you tend to be incubated from what's happening. And I thought that I was a worldly person, but apparently not. And then I realized the clamor of people and also their discontent until I watched this particular blogger, who was, by the way, against me during the campaign, but I found rather entertaining because he spoke like a lot of friends that I have from showbiz. Okay? So I took what he said with a grain of salt, but I am entertained and I visit, I visit the site every now and then. And I think that he's more, other people are like telling me, how can you possibly even praise this person? It's not that, but you have to also realize the mindset. We are not a homogeneous group. There are people who are so different from us. The AB crowd, the CD, but we have to harmonize ourselves into a particular ideal. I think that decency, accountability, respect, kindness, these are the things that we should espouse. No matter who we believe in politically. And maybe this is not the forum for it, but as a mother, as a woman, as a Filipino, I think that it will do us more good to be able to maintain that standard. So maybe that's all we can say, because as I said, it's almost like containing in a particular in a bucket of water an entire ocean. We can't possibly do that, but perhaps if we just hold ourselves accountable and we set an example, like, sir, you talk about 35,000 people, that's a lot of people. You cannot possibly you cannot possibly have a stadium with that, maybe Mall of Asia, or the Philippine Arena, but 35,000 times how many? That's how many you influence. Just by being kind in a post will make the day of a person different. Will make a person look at his day differently and the person in front of him differently. So maybe we can have that ripple effect. We don't want to police. The Senate, we're not even capable of legislating, much more implementing. That's not within our purview. So anyway, before I give a sermon and digress, I will give this to Senator Nancy Binay.
Yeah, Madam Chair, gusto ko lang ho itanong, ilan ho yung members ng Blogwatch?
Okay, our core group now, we're only 5. We're only 5. And most of the time now, if we are not writing, we are actually active on social media, mostly Twitter, under our individual accounts.
But aside from Blogwatch, meron pa ho bang ibang grupo similar to yours?
Well, we hope so. Actually, one of the things that we're there are bloggers in different regions, and what we're really doing now is we're really trying to create this mindset of digital citizenship, which is, as a citizen, you have a voice and you have the potential to use that voice for good. And so that's what we're trying to ripple out. Just to answer the question, we are very thankful to Senator Grace that you said that you're not there to police, but we do understand that there has to be some self-policing. So it's not going to come from the outside. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this awareness down to the young ones who are still in school, that they should try to use their social media and their blogging responsibly and to be responsible citizens. So that is where we're coming from. We're not for more legislation, but we're for education and media literacy. And if I can just turn it over to Noemi for a while, if you will allow us, just for final words.
Just a final word, no? Because we have been trying to engage with the senators for the past years, and we have engaged with Senator Bamakino, among others, and I think JV Ejercito. So I would request if the senators and congressmen could also sit down with us and understand that there are various communities in the blogging community, and we want to use social media for good. And lastly, we are a diverse group of bloggers, even in own Blogwatch. Nag-aaway-away kami because we have different views. In fact, Coca used to blog for us in the past, up to 2013. Yeah. Pardon?
You said he was part of your group, but did you let him go?
He left because he worked for PCOO under Secretary Coloma at that time.
Okay.
That was 2013.
And so he gave up his personal blog.
He gave up writing for Blogwatch because of conflict of interest.
But did he still have his own blog
I
then?
think Pro Pinoy. And he had Kokoy Chronicles. And that's not the way he writes. He doesn't write in Tagalog. I know, I've seen him write for many years. He doesn't write Tagalog.
So, which particular article didn't you think he wrote?
The one that you've been posting. He was just sharing an article. That's why I am really imploring that you sit down with us and understand the bloggers in our community. We have a diverse group of bloggers. Where there are Duterte supporters, there are neutral bloggers, there are there are yellows. So, we are not just a homogeneous group of bloggers.
No, that's why, ma'am, I understand. That's why we wanted him to be here, so that he
I
can
don't know where he
clarify
is.
that. Diba? Why would he want to be here if he had nothing to hide? I mean, it would have been his chance to defend himself, diba? Okay, Tony, let me give you the floor.
Si Kokoy po, kaibigan ko po yung vlogger. Matagal na po kami magkakilala. At magkalaban po kami yan sa politika. Magkalaban po kami yan. Pero dito po sa akusasyon ng mga DDS vloggers na finid po sa inyo, I'm sorry, Senator, pero baka po na-mislead po kayo ng mga taong nag-inform sa inyo tungkol dito sa Kokoy Gate. Humihiling po ako sa inyo na magpatawag po kayo ng mga domain name registrar, mga web administrator, na hindi connected dito sa pinag-uusapan natin, para po mabigyan kayo ng unvarnished truth. Kasi halimbawa ako, dahil wala naman po akong pakialam dun sa mga websites na in-identify nitong mga informants po ng mga senador, sa palagay ko po, kahit kanino po, pwede akong kumuha ng domain name. Pwede po akong kumuha ng hosting. Pero wala po silang pakialam dun sa magiging laman ng blog ko. Kaya halimbawa, kahit po mapatunayan nila by some hocus-pocus na si Kokoy Dayaw ang web administrator, domain name registrar at Google AdSense owner ng mga blogs na ito, wala po ni isa silang mapapakita sa inyo na katunayan na siya yung author nun, na siya yung nagsulat.
Oh nga, no, with all due respect, of course, you just have to defend your friend. As you know, you said you know him, but it's more expedient for him to be here. Diba? And to speak for himself. Miss Bana, I mean, diba, maraming tumitira kay Asek Mocha, pero nagpakita siya dito. Nagpakita siya sa hearing, naglakas loob, humarap kay Senator Trillanes. Si Hover, maraming tumitira sa kanya, naglakas loob, pumunta dito. Ikaw, Tonyo, maraming tumitira sa'yo. Pero nandito ka pa rin, di ba? So, kung kaya ninyo na magpapasa ng opinyon sa sarili ninyong blog, kayo man ang nagsulat o hindi, pero pinayagan ninyo at responsibilidad nyo yan, dapat magpakita rin kayo dito. So, ma'am.
Yes, Madam Chair. I'd like to, before going to Ms. Jover here, I'd like to address Brother Tonyo, since the PCOO was mentioned a while ago. And it seems that he was referring, Tonyo was referring to the PCOO as someone who, as an agency who should have a policy to dictate upon SASOT, on Thinking Pinoy, on everyone on every Duterte supporter. What is very clear here is we don't dictate what they write on social media. PCOO and its line agencies are clear with what we want. We go to the countryside through PCONet. We meet with information officers, both information officers, both from government, from the private sector, because sabi po natin, ang fake news at lahat ng responsibilidad po ng komunikasyon ng programa ng gobyerno at yung gagawin po natin ay hindi namin kaya lang na kami-kami lang. So we reached out for the past months po mula nung August po. Si Secretary Martin Andanar, kami po ay nag-iikot sa buong bansa, sharing this kind of program po na pati mga estudyante and our information officers sa local government units we should be responsible sharers of information. And of course, to self-regulate ourselves. And for PCOO to dictate, it was being implied a while ago na PCOO ang dapat magdikta kung ano ang dapat nilang sinusulat. In fact, Thinking Pinoy would always call us out. And the secretary, any one of us here, have been, of course, called out. Even Thinking Pinoy had called me out several times also. And of course, we cannot control that kasi opinion nila yon. So, may it be clear sa hearing po na ito na we don't accept, we don't allow Duterte supporters to inflict or make comments, hate comments, bring up hate comments on social media or bash kung sino man yung mga opposition ng ating administrasyon. So I hope we are clear with that.
Madam Senator, pwede po bang sumagot ng mabilis? Wala po akong sinasabi na dinidiktahan po ng PCOO ang mga vloggers ng DDS. Ang sinabi ko po kanina, may claim po si Secretary Andana na wala siyang kilala sa mga to. Hindi niya po kilala itong mga to. Pero marami na pong ulit. First name basis pa po sila. Kilala po nila to. Yung mga taong to na nagpapatakbo ng mga websites at Facebook pages. Kaya wala po akong sinasabi na dinidictate nila. Ang sinasabi ko lang, ilang beses lang sinabi ng secretary na assets itong mga to ng administrasyon. Ilang beses po nilang nakausap ang Pangulo at ilang beses po silang nag-meeting sa Malacanang. So imposible pong hindi kilala ni Secretary Andanar. So sana maipakilala ng secretary itong mga to sa Senado kasi marami nagsasabi sa kanila galing yung fake news doon sa mga Facebook page na yun.
Siguro, Secretary Andanar, may listahan ho ba kayo ng mga empleyado na vloggers? Because, for example, si Thinking Pinoy was apparently hired as a consultant by DFA. May ganun ho ba kayang database kung sino dito sa mga vlogger ang tumatanggap ng pera sa government? Because I think na-mention din kanina na yung Kokoy Dayaw pala, apparently during the time of President Noynoy was also hired by PCOO. So, may ganun ho ba tayo ngayon?
Madam Chair, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Ang alam ko lang po is si RJ Nieto was hired by the DFA and then he resigned during the first fake news hearing here in the Senate. Gusto ko rin pong klaruhin at gusto kong malinawan po si Tonyo na I was referring to the Duterte Facebook pages flashed on the screen. So I said I don't know who are running these either websites or Facebook accounts. Now, with the guests of the president during the bloggers' Christmas party, of course, kilala ko yung ilan doon, pero hindi lahat. And I can invite Tonyo to go to my office and we can identify them one by one. I've always been open, even Mom Blogger and Jane, they're open to go to my office. Everyone, no one's, wala namang ano dito. Hindi, we have an open office. Even Jover can go there. But I know she writes negative things about me, but
You will invite them?
of course, yeah.
Okay,
Siguro
that's
just
good.
to, so wala kayong consultant na vloggers or
Wala po.
You know what?
parang Kokoy Dayaw during the time
Wala
of the
po. Sa
previous
PCO, wala
government?
po.
You know what I think, Secretary Andanar, is this. I may believe, that perhaps there's no monetary exchanges here with your bloggers because they would like to align with a very popular president whom they supported. That in itself is equity for them, with or without any financial exchanges. On the other hand, again, I will appeal to your office to set the standard. Since they're your friends, they have the freedom to express what they want to say, but they will also take perhaps your inputs on how they should conduct themselves, especially when they're very popular and they can set the tone also for national debate. Sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As a matter of fact, in 2017, we had a bloggers forum at the University of the Philippines, and we invited the different influential bloggers to attend so that we may able to craft a social media policy. And there were a few who attended. I think you went there, Mom Blogger, Jane. I don't know if Tonyo, did you go there, Tonyo? We invited you during that time. Yeah, you were invited.
I didn't receive any invitation.
Okay. So we did invite, so we even invited Maria Ressa and you sent a representative. So, pwede po tayong gumawa ng social media policy with the leadership of Senator Grace Poe.
No,
Kasi
no,
pag kami po yung, pag kami po,
Leave me out of it.
Madam Chair.
pag kami po kasi yung pag gumawa tayo ng social media policy, I mean, there's really a thin line ba?
Hindi, pero alam mo, mahirap dito sa vloggers din, ganito ha. Anong magiging standard natin for being invited? I may be a blogger with 1 or 2 followers, so will it be like the number of followers? Diba parang, so, I mean, short of it being a town hall meeting, accommodating everybody who claims to be a blogger, that might as well be the entire universe of Facebook users. But anyway,
Madam Chair, kasi na-mention mo yung standards eh. I'm just wondering, Secretary Andanar, meron na ho ba tayong dinadraft na standards for government employees? Kasi I think we should have a higher standard for government employees when it comes to their personal social media account. Meron na ho bang ganong draft or pinag-aaralan nyo na ba na magkaroon ng kumbaga standards?
Your Honor, yes, the DICT, ma'am, is coming up with a draft executive order on this matter. It's actually a compilation of the several laws that we already have and are already existing.
Madam Chair, wala ba tayong somebody from DICT that can update?
No, I'm just confused. Why DICT? I mean, shouldn't it be PCOO also? What are your inputs in this draft? Can you give me an example? Ma'am, please identify yourself again.
I'm Cheryl Soriano from De La Salle University.
Yes, ma'am.
The draft administrative order from the DICT was circulated to different stakeholders. They held a public hearing last year as well. The draft administrative order is on social media use in government. It encompasses policy supposedly for looking at social media management policy for government websites and government social media sites, and also has a small section on the conduct of government officials on social media. What I feel though, when they sent out that administrative order, is that there can be a bit more bite in terms of specific stipulations on how the actions of government officials in their personal social media sites may be looked at more closely and penalized as well.
Walang, anong ethical standards did they mention?
It was detailed in terms of how government agencies will run their social media pages, kasi marami ng government agencies yung merong kanya-kanyang social media pages. And at the same time, meron din siyang section on how government officials will conduct themselves on social media.
So in your personal opinion, ma'am, do you think that if your primary task is communication, would it be counterproductive to have your own, or for the sake of freedom of expression, you should be allowed to continue?
Madam Chairman, I think organizational communication is a dilemma for different kinds of organizations, and more so for PCOO, because it's a communication organization primarily of the country. So I think, as with all kinds of organizations, employees of particular organizations need to come to a contract with their particular organizations. Kayang gawin ng organization yan eh. They can come up with their own social media management manuals and policies that their employees will abide by.
Are you saying that PCOO should not allow?
I'm saying that PCOO can come up with its own social media management policy and have all its officials follow that policy.
Okay, if you were Secretary Andanar, how would you direct this policy to be to your employees or to your subordinates? Like, would you agree with the tenor of certain bloggers that are employed under PCOO, or do you feel it's quite biased?
I think it's a policy that the organization could come up with jointly, collaboratively with its own employees. I think primarily here is the sense of mutual respect. It is very hard to draw a very clean line. What is allowable, what is not allowable. At least I think we should go with principles of mutual respect, and also recognition that there are government officials. They should be advancing dialogic discourse and civil participation of people, not just political partisanship, for example.
Yeah, because you know, I feel being fair to ASEC Mocha, if there's a disclaimer And she has repeatedly said so, that it's her personal blog. Now, for people, I guess that's your own lookout. You should be able to discern. And that's the bigger part of the problem, is for people to be able to separate her role. On the other hand, maybe as a general policy, you can say something like, maintain your blog, but I think that we should have certain ethical standards that you carry on in your personal capacity since you're still in government. For example, language use, verifying articles just to be sure that you're accurate. You're held to a higher standard precisely because you're in government. Would you be open to this, Ms. Badoy, for example?
Madam Chair, just a minute. Just to put this on record, I'm a bit bothered by the tone and the direction of this talk right now. Just to make it very clear that misinformation, lies, and all these misleadings do not come exclusively from the Duterte camp. Okay. Neither do they come from just officials that are identified with the government. In fact, the Vice President is one of the primary purveyors of fake news. Okay? And that the President is maybe an even bigger victim than she is.
Really, please enlighten us. But for the record, ma'am, I would like to also stress that as I've given the forum also to PCO to explain your side, I've also called out certain groups like Dayao is opposed to you, and I feel that it is also quite unfair for you to be here and for him not to be accountable and be present. We have Ms. Hover here, who's actually one of the reasons why we have this hearing now. So it's not targeting that, and in fact, I strive to be fair. So
Because we've talked, Madam Chair, we've talked about ASEC Boca for maybe like a third of the time. Or
Madam
something
Chair,
like
Madam
that.
Chair, is that the official position of the PCOO?
That-
That they're accusing the Office of the Vice President of spreading fake news, of peddling misinformation? Is that the official stand of the PCOO? Or is it just the personal stand of Ms. Badoy?
Okay, before we go into that, the reason why we mention her in particular is because of this controversy of one of the things that we need to be able to resolve to come up with legislation or not about being in government and maintaining your own blog or website. That's the reason. She's more prominent, as you say, the more you are in the public eye, the more responsibility you have. So it's not actually, what do you call this, zeroing in. In fact, we acknowledge and we thank the Secretary for showing up during our last hearing. So,
Madam
now,
Chair,
with a question addressed to me, which
yes,
I'm
yes.
addressing to you now.
Madam
Is this
Chair,
your position?
I'd just like to ask lang if a resource person is also clarified or qualified to ask questions.
You can ask me, and if I feel that it is something worthy of discussion, then I will ask the person that you that you address it to. So I think this is worthy of discussion because it's quite an accusation. You say that the vice president, is the biggest purveyor of fake news.
Maybe one of the.
Okay, tell me, please qualify your
For
answer.
instance, she just said recently that she paints a gloomy picture of the country at a time in our history when all the important numbers for our country are looking up. Fantastic numbers, in fact. And she says it's doom and gloom and nababalutan sa dilim or something. But an unprecedented number of Filipinos, 98%, very hopeful. For the first time, it's unprecedented. And this is an international audience that she peddles and spreads these lies about.
Okay, well, that's her opinion, and I guess the numbers will speak for itself,
Yes.
as you said. But I'd like to hear the voice of the mainstream here. Yeah, Mr. Alampay, and then later on, Ms. Reza.
Madam Chair, just I think I have no intention of pursuing, this discussion and this debate. I will leave it at where the chairman left it, that this is opinion versus opinion, but I do think that's a legitimate question by Mr. Cruz, particularly because I think it brings us to the crux of why we are here and why, as we have said, while we feel that there are enough laws for us to deal with any problems on the internet, there is particular focus on government and particularly government officials and agencies that deal with information, because that is where we then come to, as I said in the last hearing, the untenability of having public officials invoking their private positions. It will never happen. If you're a public official, as I thought Attorney Banaag was leading to a compromise or an agreement and an understanding with ASEC MOCA, that for as long as you have this public position, then we have to treat everything you say, regardless of the platform, as something that speaks for government. Which is why I think, as I said, I have no intention of pursuing this particular topic on the vice president, but I do think it's an important question, and take this as an example. When an undersecretary for communications says this, is that the official position of the PCOO and of government?
Ms. Badoy, please clarify.
It is my personal opinion.
Okay. So, Mr. Alampay, you're head of interaction and TV5 News and very respected, and I've seen your demeanor and also your opinions in many of our proceedings, and we respect your inputs. I would like to ask, if you were the head of PCOO, what would your policy be? What would your policy direction be when it comes to, I mean, wasn't Mr. Andanar under you before?
No, I was way below Mr. Andanar.
Oh, okay. Whatever. No, but what would it be? Would you tell your people, your subordinates, to get rid of their own personal first and follow an official policy?
Okay. First, I say this not as interaction, but as invited, trying to imagine how would it be to be a public official. So it is in that context that I'm only trying to build a scenario. But I think the easiest way to deal with it is to basically tell anybody involved in official communications of government that there is no such thing as your private equity here. Anything you say will be attributed, and not just may, will be attributed not just to you and not just to your office, but to government. I was about to say that I thought that the ASEC Banaag's discussion of how they've talked to ASEC MOCA, ASEC Uson, that they will now tell her, or they have told her, that anything she says is now there will be no distinction. Everything will be public. I was about to say, oh, that's good enough for me. But as the discussion went on, I realized that no, it does not end it. You take it from the other perspective as well. There will remain conflict there for as long as she has a private platform, as discussed by the bloggers, by media, and by the senators. As long as you're writing, your followers and your readers are an asset. It is an asset. And if theoretically, for example, a public official were to build up another 1 million followers during tenure, by the end of that, he or she would have gotten 1 million followers courtesy of taxpayer money. And therefore, there is that conflict. I say this by way of hopefully something that can be taken into consideration by Secretary Andanar as you formulate policies, but it is not as simple as coming up with a case-to-case agreement with, and the easiest way out of this is to just draw a line and say, if you are going to enter government, particularly in communications, you let go of all your platforms, and for that matter, your private equity as a private individual. If you don't like it, you don't have to join government, and as soon as you're not happy, you can leave government.
Thank you, Mr. Alampay. Ms. Ressa, and then I will ask sorry, Ms. Tordesillas. You first, Ms. Tordesillas, before Maria Ressa, because she already had the time to speak. Ma'am, Vera Files.
Nasabi na kasi kanina ng marami sa atin dito na I think they made the position that we have enough existing laws to address whatever.
Pakilapit yung mic para marinig natin mas malinaw.
Nasabi na kanina ng halos karamihan ata dito nagsabi na their stand is that we have enough existing laws to protect the public from any abuses from of media. We in Vera Files reiterate the same position. In fighting fake news, we should be conscious of the danger that we would be coming up with measures that would undermine freedom of expression. We might come up with a cure that is worse than the disease. Fake lies are concocted to deceive the public. They confuse the public and disempower them from making informed decision. And the worrisome part of this is that most of the sources of disinformation is being perpetrated by government officials on taxpayers' money. And the number one source of fake news is the President Duterte himself. Vera Files as a fact-check project, we tracked falsehood being spewed out by public personalities. And I tell you, President Duterte keeps us busy. In just one speech sometimes, he would say more than one falsehood. Social media is a vehicle, and the problem about that is that most of the inaccurate data that he has are basis of policies. And the one example is the war on drugs. It's based on data which cannot be verified. Marami pa yon. Social media is an awesome vehicle for information. It delivers messages real time. It has erased geographical borders. Its reach is limitless. In the hands of malevolent forces, it can inflict enormous harm to the people and to the country. Kaya kung may batas, the best antidote to fake news is truth. Ang kalaban ng kasinungalingan ay katotohanan. Kung may batas man na gagawin para sa pagsugpo ng fake news, dapat ay siguro yan ay sa larangan ng edukasyon. Social Media Literacy Program. Part of Vera Files Fact Check Project is our campus tour in partnership with the Philippine Press Institute, helping young people to fact check and to spot fake news para hindi naman sila maloko. Diyan siguro sa social media literacy, diyan siguro malaki ang maitulong ng Senado. Yun lang.
Pero di ba ma'am, pag social media literacy, sino dapat ang gumawa niyan? Iba-ibang grupo, hindi dapat.
Hindi, tulong lang siguro. Kasi ngayon talaga sa marami kaming grupo na sa private sector ang gumagawa ng social media literacy program. Like kami, umiikot kami sa campus para tulungan lalo kayong mga high school pa lang kasi social media sabi na yung mga kabataan eh. So, we help them fact check para importante kasi nakatotohanan ang ma-imbibe nila eh, hindi yung falsehood.
Alam niyo ma'am, actually ABS-CBN nandito. Naalala ko dati, babalikan ko na naman yung aking storya na sinasabi ko dapat yung maintindihan ng Pilipino kung anong pwedeng panoorin, anong pwedeng hindi. Sa tulong ninyo, GMA7, TV5, gumawa tayo ng yung rating system, di ba? Hindi natin ginawa lang, pre-nomote natin, di ba? Yun yung ginawa. Baka pwede din sa mga balita maging mapanuri, ito yung mag-check kayo ng hindi lamang dun sa mga kaibigan ninyo ng mga pinopost, kundi dun sa iba. I mean, something like that. But of course, this will entail also a partnership with the private sector. And I think Senator Nancy will add something.
Siguro, Madam Chair, I remember during the budget hearing, di ba Secretary Andanar, you mentioned something that parang meron kayong program to educate. Baka pwede naman magtulong-tulungan kayo Diba?
Alam mo, pwede ko yan sanggupin. Mahirap kasi makipagtulungan sa... I'll give you one example. Minsan mahirap kasi makipag-cooperate sa pamahalaan kasi hindi ko alam kung pareho kami ng definition ng truth. Kasi I'll give you one example. Yung isang fact-check project namin involved schools within students from Metro Manila schools, pero ang venue ginawa sa Philippine Information Agency. Venue lang yung sa kanila. Pagdating doon, siyempre piniprepare na namin yung presentation namin. Napansin nila, marami sa examples namin, yung mga falsehood na binabato ni Presidente sa Madla. And they asked us to tone down the presentation. Ano yun? So, hindi na kami nag-present. Hindi na kami nag-present. So, hindi ko alam kung yung katotohanan na sinasabi nila, na gusto nila ipaalam sa lahat, ay pareho kami ng definition. So, yun ang medyo worry ako pag sinabi mong work with the government.
Madam Chair, can I respond to Ma'am Ellen?
Yes, and then I would finally like to go to Ms. Lauria before we suspend.
I do respect
Okay,
Ma'am
go ahead.
Ellen as a journalist, pero pag sinabi niyo pong si Presidente po yung source ng falsehood na generalize masyado yung inyong sinasabi ay hindi naman din ako papayag na ganun-ganun lang at na ma-broadcast sa lahat ng television, social media. So I would like to invite Ma'am Ellen to visit my office and to join us to ilagay po ang mga dokumento sa harapan ko, and I will answer them one by one para po mas malino po at hindi tayo nag-generalize na falsehood si Presidente. At number 2 po, meron po kaming programa, yung PCONet. Ito po yung Provincial Communication Officers Network, and we've been going around the country, and you're free to join us. There's only one way to find out. Just join us and not necessarily believe in what we do, but join the caravan, and we can have opposing opinions, but that's our job. Number 3, siguro naman ay ito'y malinaw po sa mga kababayan natin na itong administrasyon lamang na ito ang nakapagpirma, nakapagpasa ng isang freedom of information under an executive order, at alam kong pinaglalaban din po ito ni Senator Grace Poe dito po sa Senado. Salamat po.
Secretary Andanar, unang-una, talagang tama lang that you called Mr. Desillas on her allegation and offered her to clarify it with you. I feel that Mr. Desillas wouldn't say it without any basis, but I think it's important that you clarify those doubts or truths. And then
Yes,
number 2, you were a former member also of the media, so you know. I'm sure you have sympathy for them. If it's really inclusive, if you can include them in your government tours when you go around, I think it's important to have accountability, and you know that if you get a fellow media practitioner in the group, then you will be more transparent, you'll be more accountable. Number 3, yes, I acknowledge and I thank the President for signing an executive order on the freedom of information. Sadly, it is something that has no teeth because there's really no penalty. In fact, the truth is, now, when you go to a government agency, even us, our own personal experience in the Senate, we ask for certain data, we're given the runaround because it's not very clear what the penalty or what the accountable individual will be in the office if they don't give it. Sir, sa totoo lang, it doesn't really work. It doesn't work in many cases. When you ask for information, it's still withheld. Just here in the Senate, I mean, even the Senate and the House, you ask for the SALE, and it's not an open document that can be accessed necessarily but by our countrymen. So we'll work together to make it more effective.
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is not something that the President can what do you call this, monitor on a day-to-day basis. It falls under your I guess your department to be able to follow through. So let's check it, and then maybe to add more teeth, we should have penalties for those who don't comply. Kasi dapat yan 5 days, within 5 working days, and then at the most you can appeal to the next head of that agency, etc. It's not being followed. And I know that for a fact. So, thank you for raising it. But I think I would like now to go to
Yung ano naman, documented naman lahat-lahat ng falsehood na sinasabi ni Presidente mula pa nung day 1 ng kanyang presidency. You can go to our site, nandun lahat yung fact check. Documented yung kanyang exact quote as against the accurate information na dapat.
Sige, ma'am, mag-meeting na lang kayo, tapos ibigay mo rin sa akin para alam rin namin. GMA News, bigyan naman ko kayo ng pagkakataon bago si Ms. Laura.
Sorry, before we turn over to Ms. Laurio, kukwento ko lang po yung efforts din ng, I think lahat naman ng media organizations ngayon nagsisimula na ng efforts to fight fake news. Sa GMA, meron kaming online show called Fact or Fake, hosted by Joseph Borong. You can search for it on YouTube. And interesting kasi yung last episode was about this news website proliferating fake news about this viral girl who supposedly committed suicide. So fake talaga yon. And ang interesting is it was using the name of President Duterte. So it was bannered under President Duterte News, and we checked and we verified that it was fake news. Now, in this particular case, it's interesting to me because like all media organizations, we've had encounters where fake news sites impersonate us. And our action usually is to put out a statement disowning whatever fake news that is. So kahit nga yung minsan yung walang pasok, lalagyan ng logo ng GMA, tapos mag-spread siya. So we have to respond as quickly as possible para hindi maging viral yung fake news na yun. Ngayon, in this case, and marami pang ibang cases, ginagamit actually yung pangalan ni President Duterte dito ng mga fake news site na ito. I was just wondering if there are efforts by government to disown this and to actually run after the people running these sites, because obviously merong traction ito sa online, merong kumikita rito, and I think it behooves the government, given that the name of the president is being used for traffic.
You know what? Thank you for raising that. In fact, like some of them can get away with it on a technicality because they don't necessarily say Duterte website. They say something like Duterte supporter, which can, excuse them already. But you're right, because sometimes, I meet a lot of our OFWs, kababayan, and they get the news just because of that very popular name, di ba? Nakita nila. So, PCO, I think you should be wary also of those that use the name of the president to be able to spread. But I would like to call also on Rappler, no? Kasi, of course, we're talking about fake news here. One of the things that came out of Rappler is the news that Nikki Teodoro is the new DSWD secretary. So, that was also one of the issues against Rappler initially. Maybe you can answer that, Ms. Reza.
Sure.
How did that happen?
So it's a normal workflow process we have called a pre-write, and it was accidentally triggered the same way that, I don't know if you saw a few years ago, AP, for example, said that the White House was under attack, and it came out in a tweet. So this was published. We immediately pulled it back and issued an erratum, and then came out with the right piece. So it was a flaw in the process, in the workflow process. But again, immediately taken down and then given.
So you admit it was a mistake? I mean, it
yes,
happens
absolutely,
in journalism.
absolutely, yeah.
All right.
And we did a correction immediately, and then we put it inside a monthly list of every single correction that our organization has. We maintain that.
No, but you know how there are like certain leanings. There's no denying that sympathizers of another group is more leaning towards Rappler, and sympathizers of another group will lean towards another group. Now, but it doesn't preclude us from being more accountable, I guess, being more balanced. But I think now I would like to acknowledge the presence of our majority floor leader and also one of the ones that filed the resolution for this hearing, Senator Soto. Thank you for your presence, sir. Should we go now to Miss Laurio to, do you have any particular questions for her? I think, sir, you can also, this is something that you wanted me to clarify.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Perhaps the question I would like to pose would be to all or whoever would be able to answer. Perhaps Rappler and all the other agencies that are involved in the social media or mainstream media for that matter. For example, not example, my question would be, what do you do when you've posted a fake news and the victim asks you to take it down and proves that it is fake news? What do you do?
Do you actually take it down? Sir, meron yata yung sa inyo, di ba? Yung sa isang...
Yes, meron ganun eh.
Sir, being an ex-media person.
Yes, thank you, Madam Senator. Senator Soto and Senator Binay, good afternoon. Apart from being a former reporter, our company also maintains more than 50 social media sites and with likers numbering 800,000 plus. So when we do get a complaint on almost 24 hours basis, we if it's really erroneous, we take it down. Kasi it's also to our disadvantage if we have found ourselves making a mistake and not correcting it, because the karma will be on the readers. The worst thing that can happen to a site, lalo, especially if it's not populated by bots, but organic and real people, you will be unliked by the hundreds. That's the worst thing, apart from being suspended by the site like Facebook. So in our case, we are very conscientious about that.
This is your opinion, but I would like to ask ABS, what would you do if there's an erroneous report and you're asked to take it down? Would you offer a correction? Do you take it down from your archives, etc.?
If it's proven that it's erroneous, we will take it down, and we've done that a lot of times.
Is the inquirer here?
Invited them, but they haven't sent a representative yet. Maybe we can ask Miss Laurio, now that you're present here, do you have any statements that you would like to open with?
Yes, yung una kasi, yung kaninang suggestion ni Senator Pacquiao na parang pangalanan yung mga bloggers, i-register sila. The reason why some people hindi sila lumalabas is because of the bashers and the hate messages. You need to have a strong stomach for it, for you to continue blogging. For example, someone would release your private information online, saying where you're going to school, and then telling in a FB live that wag niyo siyang sasaktan, kausapin niyo lang, sa Arellano yan nag-aaral. Something like that. I mean, you need to have a firm stomach for it. And in regards to suggestion ni Secretary Andenar that to work hand in hand with the press, maybe before doing that, he needs to tell ASIC Mocha to stop calling the media as prostitute. For one, step one. They should stop calling media as a prostitute. It's a very offensive. I mean, there's a resibo for that. And then the fake news. Fake news kasi dalawa yan. Disinformation or misinformation. I can give you one example. Wag na tayong lumayo. For you, Senator Grace po, I'm going to give an example. ASIC Mocha just posted, there's a news last November 26 where you asked the palace to certify traffic power bill as urgent. And then ASIC Mocha posted, wow ha, ang tagal na po niyan, tapos sasabihin nyo si si President na dapat ang i-certify siya na urgent. Apparently, hindi naiintindihan ni ASIC Mocha kung paano pinapasa yung bill. And then she said, dito mo talaga makikita ang pinagkakaiba ni Presidente sa mga trapo. Kay Presidente, lagi mong maririnig ang katagang, I will take responsibility. Akin yan. Pag trapo, hindi mo talaga makikitang sa amin nagkamali. So basically, she is enticing hate. She is enticing her follower to hate you. Eh paano yung mga follower niya na hindi alam na ang pagpasa ng bill ay first reading, second reading, third reading. So,
Actually, Ms. Laurio, thank you for clarifying that. That's true. I mean, Secretary Andanar, I've been the one pushing for emergency powers here. In fact, I've been asking the President, you certify it, all of your senators in your group would fast track it. Of course, we have the train, etc., that took precedence. But why would you allow something like that? I know this is her personal blog. Did you call her attention? Did you explain it to her?
I wasn't able to read or listen to that particular blog of Mocha.
Sure.
I will check that.
Yeah.
November
Alam mo,
26.
never mind, because I know what I'm doing here in the Senate, and I feel that I'm the majority leader can attest to this. But it's just sad because she belongs to this. Never mind. This is not a forum for our personal vendetta. But Ms. Laurio, go ahead. What else?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
before she moves on, may I? This is somehow related. If you're behind the Pinay Ako blog,
yes, sir.
Ms. Laudio, so what did you do after you came out with the news that it was not true? What did you do with the news? Because you said in your blog that we refused to sign that particular resolution, and it's not true that we did not refuse to sign. We were not asked to sign.
Yes, sir.
So what did you do afterwards?
On the given time, sir, yung time na blinag ko yan, you were still not signing any resolution on that. And then, I made another...
Because we were not asked to sign.
There's a recibo from the office of Senator Kiko that says that an email was sent to some senators.
That's not true. Even if it is true that emails was sent thereafter, that is not true because that is not the procedure here. You must know that in the procedure here in the Senate, any member of the Senate can come up to us and ask us to sign when it's a resolution. You do not email. When you email, that means you're avoiding. So if you're asking some people to learn about Senate proceedings, you must learn also about Senate proceedings. So thereafter, when you found out that we did not refuse to sign, as a matter of fact, we came out with our own resolution, what did you do?
Well, the resolution was in the blog. It was stated that you said that, sabi niyo po, gagawa kayo ng resolution. And then when I write the second blog, dun po lumabas yung statement from the office of Senator Kiko na, in fact, you were informed via email that there's indeed a resolution because some of your
But
colleagues...
that was already after it was filed. So, what did you do? Hindi mo inalis, hindi mo inalis
Hindi
yung
po,
news
sir.
mo.
Kasi
Hindi mo
ang
inalis yung blog mo.
okay
That's
po.
what I'm talking about, Madam Chair. Alam na niyang fake news, alam na niyang mali yung news, hindi pa inaalis. So what do we do about this? Yun ang gusto nating malaman. And hopefully we will be able to come up with legislation that would address such things.
Kasi ganito lang yan, Ms. Laura. Para lang ma-explain ko rin sa mga nakikinig. Ang sinasabi ni Senator Soto, totoo nga naman, dito yung proceedings namin, ako na nalapitan para pirmahan yon. So, swerte ko naman. Hindi.
Bakit hindi email sa'yo?
Correct. Okay, so sabihin na natin, ewan ko na kung anong intention doon. Basta ako nalapitan, mabuti na lang na pirmahan ko. Ngayon, nung sinasabi ninyo na hindi na niya pinirmahan, kaya hindi mo na na-retract kasi tapos na yung blogging at that time, nasubmit na kasi yun eh. So, hindi na talaga mapipirmahan. Nasubmit na yon. So, that's why what they did was, I think they came up with their own manifestations, correct? Condemning EJK. So, that's it. I think that you should also be given a little room, just like we're giving room to Rappler and PDI for their mistakes, di ba? But But at least also you should realize that this is also how it affects some of us here na hindi naman sa ayaw namin pirmahan yung EJ, I mean, ng aking mga kasama. I can attest to the fact that ako nilapitan. And siguro sila nga hindi. Ma'am.
Yes, yung sample po na sinabi ko about you, Madam Chair, that's disinformation. Another example of another fake news. I don't want to call it fake news because that's completely lie. About Senator Bam. Senator Bam said that I would like to thank President Duterte for signing this, the one yung free college. And then again, ASEC Mocha posted that Senator Bam is credit grabbing, blah 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 blah. I mean, what part of I thank the president for signing that is not, I mean, it's just like creating divisiveness and hatred. Hindi lang po isang beses, hindi lang po dalawa, maraming beses po. And yet, sasabihin na naman natin na it is in her personal capacity. But on her personal blog, nag-FB live din siya eh. Nag-FB live siya sa mga accomplishment ni Presidente, which is good. Pero ginagamit niya rin sa sa pag-publish ng fake news.
Ayan, Miss Badoy, sige nga pakisagot ito.
I don't think Miss Lario has the moral high ground to talk to us about kindness and decency when she herself, her blog...
I think she's talking about kindness and decency.
Accuracy.
What she's talking about here, ma'am,
yes.
what she's talking about is how it is... Kasi nga the difference is you're in government and they're not. Okay? So that's why nga the policy is a little bit different. That's why we don't mean to pick on anyone, but the fact is, how do you blur the lines nga? The lines are so blurred. So how do you, okay, she has no moral high ground in your opinion, right? Because cite an example, because...
well, we have our slides actually, of her, how we please. Of course, I understand that Ms. Lario we're held to a higher standard because we're government officials. I do understand that. But even then, as humans, we don't take away our humanity. She's gone over and beyond what can be defined as decent.
Yeah. Do you have that presentation?
Yes,
Can you please show it? Because I want to be
Madam Chair,
fair here.
Madam Chair, I wish to clarify, is this an official PCOO presentation prepared using taxpayer money and public employees? Is this
Yes.
Yusek Badoy's personal presentation?
No,
We would just like to put on record,
Okay, I
Madam
think
Chair.
Secretary
It's from the
Andanar
PCOO.
can answer this, or Attorney Banaag. Sir, are
It's
you
from the
aware of this
PCOO.
presentation, sir?
Yes.
We have prepared slides of inaccurate news and fake news as well. This is for the information and also to aid us
Okay.
in this hearing, Madam.
Okay,
Chair.
so you are aware of this, and this is part of your presentation, PCO. Okay, go ahead, please.
Madam Chair, can I answer every slide para mas mapabilis po tayo? Is this the...
Okay.
Yeah.
Sige, go.
First slide. Ito po ang example ng disinformation or fake news. Yeah, kailangan nyo nga talaga po ng training sec. The post was posted May of 2017. And then, the context of the post is that may sakit ang presidente noon, kaya sinama niya yung buong pamilya. And everyone was asking, bakit kasama? Di ba taxpayer money yan? And then I tweeted, sabi ko sa bagay, at least kung may mangyari sa kanya during that trip, kasama yung pamilya niya.
Oh, pero hindi naman, may mali siya pa rin doon. Alam naman natin. O sige,
Yeah, I mean,
yun yung
but-
justification mo, mali pa rin yun. Okay,
Yes,
next.
but it's not a fake news.
Oh, no, we're not saying that.
Yeah,
We're
yes,
talking about...
But why it was presented there, Madam
No.
Chair?
Okay, we're talking about the conduct. Okay, no. Okay, so fine. Look, kayo rin naman may mga below the belt. And I mean, and you should be called out for those things that you say that are wrong. So you have, may pangil ka rin. Okay, next. Okay, so paano to? Hindi naman ikaw yan no?
Yeah, it's the president who
Pero,
said
yeah,
that Bongo
that's
is a
not your blog.
billionaire.
Okay, okay.
That's my blog, ma'am.
Blog mo
ko po
rin?
yan. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Paano-
was quoting the president saying na Bongo is billionaire.
Oo, actually parang narinig ko rin yun di ba? Okay, so okay lang yun, di ba? Okay, next.
But not in connection with the scandal.
Ha?
Sabi na scandal, yung context nung statement ni President.
Hindi, kaya nga. So, di ba, this is actually what we're learning here. We're learning.
Madam
that you
Chair?
Madam,
Madam Chair,
Madam-
siguro pwede pa-explain natin muna sila Secretary Andanar kung paano naging fake news yung pinopost nila. Siguro bago siya sumagot.
okay.
Bongo, hindi lang selfie king. Ang pagkasulat kasi niyan ay very malicious, ma'am. That's very malicious. Pakialamero din. So anong ibig sabihin nito? Anong gustong hiwatig ni Ms. Jover sa sambayanan? And of course, let us also take into consideration that these types of posts, ito yung nag-iengganyo na mga hate messages Itong mga post na ganito
But it's not fake news. It's a hate post.
Hate post. Hate post. Hate post, and it could be fake news.
Madam Chair?
Okay. You first, because, yes.
Madam Chair, if I may comment, since I'm a lawyer, this is not hate speech, Your Honor. This is precisely legal opinion. This is political opinion, Your Honor. And precisely, it's within the protection of the right to freedom of expression.
No one's disputing that. But this is what we're trying to prove here. Both sides of the camp are kind of guilty also of perpetuating their beliefs in a way that can be offensive if you are on the other side of the fence.
Yes, Your
with
Honor,
regards
but
this.
it is a dictum of freedom of expression advocacy that the antidote to speech that we hate is not less speech, but more speech, Your Honor. Therefore, if some quarters of our political society are against this post, this opinion, the antidote, Your Honor, is to post another opinion on that.
Okay.
Not to actually self-censorship.
No.
Not
we're
to
not- we're
actually
not-
file
I agree.
anything
This
against.
is we're not gonna curtail this. We're not going to say, huwag kayo mag-post ng ganyan. We can only appeal and say, okay, just be kind, if you can, be magnanimous if you can. But it should not be a choice when you're in government. You should always carry a higher standard. That's the only thing.
Yes, Your
Yung,
Ms. Laurio's not.
hindi naman, wala naman kami sinasabi, attorney, kasi yung context kasi nun, in-explain na ni Special Assistant to the President na wala nga siyang kinalaman at hindi siya nakialam. So ang nakalagay doon, pakialamero din. So it's implying that pakialamero si Sabong. So therefore, ang tanong ko kay Jovi, have you called him up and asked him kung talagang nakialam siya?
Ay, wala po kasi akong contact sa kanya, sir.
Okay.
At saka po, binase ko po yung blog na yan
Saan?
sa documents na kung saan meron pong sa Sec Lorenzana na meron pong post-it doon na this is from Bongo and all.
At sinagot na yon ni Secretary Lorenzana at sinabi niya na hindi niya na matandaan at sinabi din ni Vice Admiral Mercado na never nakialam si Bongo.
Well, when I was writing that, sir, wala pa po. So,
Because that's the problem. Wala kasing vetting Anong problema?
Diba ang Rappler may rilabas din, yung may writing dun sa margins nung, how are you able to verify? Is that true news?
Oh, sorry.
About the meddling and the
Elfie Lorizana, our
the Navy.
Secretary of Defense actually confirmed the document. And
The Secretary of
also,
the name is, the Secretary Lorenzana?
Secretary Lorenzana confirmed it. I mean, we can tweet it, guys, if you're
Okay.
just tweet the links to the articles. But can I, ma'am, since Senator Poe, since you have, I think for me what's astounding listening is that there seems to be an inability to distinguish between professional behavior and accountability for government officials and free speech in many instances. So I hope no offense on this one, sir. I think that in the earlier one, it's about professionalism. Any office, particularly a government office that's in charge of the reputation of the government, that is in charge of communicating to the public, actually should have its own standards and ethics for your own employees. I've been an employee for many, many years of different organizations, and they've actually always told us, when I was with CNN, I couldn't get a haircut without letting my boss know. That doesn't curtail your freedom. It doesn't curtail freedom of speech. And particularly for a government official, echoing Robbie, there is no difference between personal and professional because that's a government official. I can't imagine Senator Soto doing something privately and then saying publicly, I can't, that wasn't me. So I think that's the first one, and then it's about a level of professionalism that you'd hold the people in PCOO to. And then the second part is just if you create a vacuum, if you don't exercise that power and then have a kind of plausible deniability about who can, like in Undersecretary Badoy's situation, when you draw the line between your personal and your professional role, it's a disservice to your office and also a disservice to your own personal goals. I think part of it is in that instance where you said that you're going to, I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't be saying this. It's just shocking that we're at a very basic definition of what professional government service means and what the expectations are. And perhaps that's the difference. That's the core difference in the way we approach everything.
Okay. Thank you. I guess we go back again to this distinction of a private individual and a government official. I mean, we go back to that. But I think Senator Soto
Yes,
has
Madam
something
Chair,
to add.
I hope you don't mind, but earlier when we were monitoring the hearing and some of my staff members were monitoring the hearing, we heard a resource person say that the NBI Cybercrime Division can make hocus-pocus report, something to that effect. So, and that Kokoy Dayo is they can make and show that Kokoy Dayo is the registered owner of Silent No More when actually he is not. That was, I think, the statement that was made. Can we ask the NBI to respond to this comment that was made, allegation against you?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I was supposed to raise the issue earlier, but because of so many issues raised before, I was not able to do so. First of all, I would like to inform that we filed the case before the city prosecutor of Pasay City, a cyber libel case against Mr. Dayaw. It was docketed there. The preliminary investigation progressed, and we were informed that it was submitted for resolution. We are awaiting the result of resolution, but for purposes of presentation here, I can comment that we have proven that Kokoy Dayaw is the managing director and editor-in-chief of propinoy.net. Therefore, it follows that he has the authority to act on behalf of the owner of the website or is the owner himself. He likewise admit that he is the editor-in-chief thereof, which means that he is the website's editorial decision maker. So as to his liability, if it will be proven that this propinoy.net is registered in his name, there is no doubt as to the personality or the subject of our investigation. If we want a complete presentation of the digital forensic laboratory examination made by the NBI, we can present it here, but considering that the case is pending issuance of resolution, I don't want to be cited in contempt in that proceedings. But
So
we can ask for
therefore, the allegation that you can make hocus pocus is not true.
fake news, sir, Your Honor.
Huh?
That's
It's
a
not
fake
true.
news, Your
It's
Honor.
not true. Yun ang fake news.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ay, usos talaga sa kanila yun eh.
We can present the result of the digital forensic examination and executive session if the senators would wish to do it. Thank you very much.
Actually, Senator Soto, one of the interviews with the then Secretary Abella, he was asked about trolls, and he said, wala naman kaming trolls, meron kaming social media warriors. I think he mentioned that. And he mentioned the name Mick Abunada. Are you familiar with him? Is he employed? Gabonada. So he was mentioned as one of those involved in the social media warriors group of this administration. Is that true, or are you familiar with him, Ms. Banaag?
I've met Mr. Nick Gabonada once, Madam Chairman, but I'm not so familiar with Mr. Nick
So
Gabonada.
why was
And
his name mentioned by Secretary Abella as belonging to the social media warriors of this administration?
I would not really know the context as to which the Undersecretary Abella then mentioned his name, Senator.
Mr. Lopez, yeah, you have something to add.
Madam Chair, Mr. Gabonada is like Mr. Armand Nocum. He's a like a PR.
Is he employed by this administration? Do you know?
I'm not sure now,
But do you see him when you have bloggers meetings?
not now.
Before?
But during the campaign, he
During
was
the
active.
campaign. So, Mr. Secretary Andanar, is he still under your employ?
No, Madam Chair. I met Nick Gabonada after the president's oath taking, and he's not under our office.
Okay. Senator Soto or Senator Binay, do you have anything else to add before we do
Well,
our closing?
just one final question. What is our recourse? Or what is the recourse of people if a website or a social media company or group do not want to take down their fake news? What is our recourse?
Perhaps the NBI can answer this? Or maybe, wala ang Facebook kaya pinapatawag na natin for the next. Ms. Panelo, very quickly.
Yes po. Kasi I'm
Where are
from
you
the
again?
NUJP po, National Union of Journalists of the Philippines.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. I'm taking from the report of the NBI na pwede pala po silang mag-track down ng mga websites. Kasi meron po kaming app, yung Fake Block, na in-introduce namin actually in March this year, na nag-flag down siya ng
Facebook fake block.
So
Okay.
it blocks mga fake websites. And dun sa site na yon, pwede pong mag-report yung citizens na nakakakita ng fake websites. Na i-report nila doon, tapos bine-verify namin. Ang nakita namin na commonality kasi, dun sa mga inire-report is wala siyang about us. Walang about us. So, ibig sabihin, walang accountability. Yung hundreds of fake websites na all over the
Boss,
internet.
magandang private initiative to ha. Pero pag nireport sa inyo, what's the recourse in the law? Do you submit it
Yun nga po, inaayos pa po kasi namin yung database kasi sobrang dami din.
dami nagre-report?
Tapos kailangan din namin talagang
At hindi
i-verify.
lang lahat politika to, di ba? Iba-iba.
Yes,
may
yes.
private.
Merong mga health, yung mga
Oo.
about
ang importante
mga business,
rin,
yung
sa health,
ganyan. So, sobrang dami po ng sites and we're verifying all the sites. We have, parang marami na nag-report sa around 500. So, inaayos pa namin siya. We will,
You know, I
we just
think you
want to
should
put it on
collaborate
record
with
na
you can help the NBI. If
Yes.
the NBI is open, let's seek an
And-
appointment. Yeah.
para makita din sino ba talaga yung if they can track down sino talaga yung gumagawa ng mga fake websites na ito na nagpo-proliferate.
So for example, yung ayaw i-take down ni Miss Lauro yung maling balita, pwede i-report sa inyo. The blog insists that we refuse to sign it.
Ang pwede
And she
pong
does not want to take it down, so we can be reported to
po
you.
niya yun. It's her site, so depende po yun sa kanya kung
So wala
iti-take
kayo,
down niya po.
wala kayo magagawa.
Ang inaano po namin, yung mga sites ay vine-verify namin kung fake website siya or hindi. Yan po.
And then, therefore, so the answer to my query is not, well, they can't do anything?
Mr. Senator,
Shall we
if I
go-
may.
Yeah.
Mr. Alampay, go ahead.
Kasi,
Ako po, sa tingin ko po napakahalaga po nung tanong ni Senator Soto. And I'll try to answer also para sa mga nakikinig. Marami pong nanonood at alam ko naman po na dahil napakalihitimo nung tanong na yun. At pagka naagrabyado ako, anong pwede kong gawin? Hindi lang po nangyayari sa mga opisyal yan, nangyayari yan sa pangkaraniwang tao. Pag minsan nag-aaway lang, nagsisiraan na sa Facebook and so on. Babalikan ko lang po yung sinabi kanina ni Senator Pacquiao because I think he had the right instinct. Gaya lang ng sabi niya, inawat niya lang yung sarili niya. Pero nung sinabi niya nga, nung merong pinost si Yusek Badoy na hindi niya nagustuhan, sabi niya, alam mo, sa totoo lang, nag-isip na akong maghabla. Pero dahil Kristiyano ako, inisip ko na lang na wag. Pero yung option to take legal action is there. And as we said from the very start, we believe that all the laws are in place. There is more than enough to protect our reputations and to protect our integrity and our privacies as necessary. And yun po sa tingin ko ang paulit-ulit nating sinasabi na mahalaga na masabi dito at maintindihan ng taong bayan. Sa dinami-dami ng problema natin sa Facebook, alam natin makabago to. Pero yung mga solusyon, actually matagal na dyan. Kailangan lang alamin natin yung karapatan natin, paglaban natin, and ultimately, I do believe that the recourse is in the, I think what we're saying is, the recourse is in the courts, but not in the legislature. Bring it to court. If you feel you've been libeled, if you feel you've been defamed, if you feel you have been slandered, then by all means, take it to court. And then let the court decide.
as much as possible, Madam Chair. Well, of course, that is the last recourse, no? But I was thinking, medyo baka magkaroon ng mas magandang approach. And just to remind everybody why. Most of our press people or journalists do not realize perhaps that the reason they have the press freedom law is because of my grandfather. Kaya malapit sa loob ko yung journalism. Kaya ang tutusin, ayoko talaga kayong awayin eh. Gusto ko nga kayong tulungan. As a matter of fact, I've already filed a new bill that will expand to them. Pinasa na nga, and Senator Grace po, the new Soto the third law. Imbis na yung Soto law na ulit, because sinama na yung broadcast. Sinama na kayo, mga social media. Kaya ang sinasabi natin dito, baka ako makahanap ng ibang recourse. Remember, the Press Freedom Law was Republic Act 53, 1946. Ganun katindi yun. Kaya malapit sa kalooban ko itong issue na to. Kaya dapat yan, siguro we should try to police ourselves. Medyo gumamit naman tayo ng konting konsyensya or gumamit ng konting delikadesa. Basta nakakasira ka ng kapwa, alamin mo muna kung tama yung sinasabi mo o hindi. Baka hindi eh. Dahil kung totoo, okay lang. Okay lang siraan mo. Pero kung hindi totoo, teka, wag naman. Dahil haharapin mo yan pag nandun ka na sa kabilang mundo. Thank you.
Thank you for putting it simply but quite clearly, Senator Soto and Mr. Alampay also for your... I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our Senate President, Senator Pimentel. Do you have any questions before I do my closing, sir?
I'm not here to attend the hearing.
He's here to remind me to wrap it up. So let me wrap it up.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
before we close, pwede ho ba sa next hearing, can we invite somebody from the ICT? Because I think very important itong ginagawa nilang draft for government officials when it comes to social media use.
I think that's a good suggestion and we will certainly extend them an invitation. So, mga kasama, maraming salamat po sa inyong pagiging kalahok natin ngayong hapon. Noon ang mga chismoso at chismosa lang ang nagkakalat ng mga balita. Buti pa yon, napapagod at hindi ganon karami ang kapitbahay na pwedeng pagchismisan. Ngayon, daig ng fake news o ng mga balita ang naturang mga nagkakalat ng balita noon dahil isang click lang ay milyon-milyon na ang maaaring makaalam. The weaponization of social media certainly is a new development that the framers of our Constitution, even the most recent one in 1987, could not have foreseen. Parang hindi na tamang tawagin natin ang problema na ito na fake news. It is misinformation, it is disinformation, it is disrespect perhaps. To misinform is to inadvertently share false information. To disinform is to deliberately create and share information known to be false. That is what experts term as misinformation and the disinformation of our ecosystem. Bloggers, although they have a right to criticize, do not have the right to misinform. Opinions passed off as news are as deadly as lies. Lalo na kung public official pa. Public officials, by the nature of their functions, should expect public scrutiny the moment they step into office. Pwede nating kapalan ang ating mga balat pero hindi natin pwedeng gawin ang ating konsensya na ganon. Mismo sa RA 6713, sinasabi na to engage in the private practice of a profession unless authorized by the Constitution or law, provided that that practice will not conflict or tend to conflict with their official functions. Public office is a public trust. Dapat naman talaga napupuna ng mga mamamayan kaming mga naninilbihan. Bawal ang balat sibuyas sa serbisyo publiko at lalo ng bawal ang sinungaling. Hindi dapat tayo ang promotor ng misinformation at disinformation. Tayo dapat ang nangunguna sa pakikipaglaban dito. Ganun pa man, gusto man nating burahin ang lahat ng misinformation or disinformation, we should be very careful in trying to regulate or criminalize any speech. With fake news threatening our daily realities, I believe that legislative solutions exist. Isang mainam na solusyon ang edukasyon at patuloy na kampanya para sa tamang partisipasyon sa cyberspace. Media literacy is the best long-term solution, but it should not just be the government. We are grateful for all private entities, particularly those coming from the media that teach netizens how to distinguish real from false information. Titignan rin natin kung anong accountability ng mga kapangyarihan na pigilin ang fake news from the source, such as social media sites. Maybe we can ask from them more transparency in their procedure for takedown because ultimately it's their platform that dictates what to show or hide on our feeds. It's also time that we encourage people to use the existing laws and institutions like the NBI Cybercrime Division already in place. With technology, we can fight back abuses in technology. On this note, upon motion of Senator Pacquiao, we will issue subpoenas to Facebook, Google, and Mr. Kokoy Dayao. Also from the suggestion of some of our resource persons, we will invite for our next hearing the two telecommunications providers, Globe and Smart, and upon the recommendation of Senator Nancy, we will invite the DICT. We need to look into setting parameters for official government platforms so that these can't be used as tools of hateful propaganda and misinformation. Guilty both sides. Nakita natin where our heart is closest to, we tend to defend it. That's human nature, human emotion, but I guess we just need to remind ourselves to be more respectful. On the policy front, we continue to rely on online discourse to help us gauge public sentiment. As chairperson of the Committee on Public Information and Mass Media, I give my assurance that freedom of expression and the press will never be restrained in my committee. And I know that this body respects that as well with my colleagues. This is exactly why the issue on misinformation and disinformation is particularly crippling for us. As you know, the majority leader has mentioned that it is through his grandfather's law and which we amended to be suitable to the times. That's why journalists, bloggers, and are now protected under the SHIELD law. At the end of the day, even if we hold different views, we should have a common standard here of decency, kindness, fairness, justice that should withstand any administration. On this front, the government should take the lead. We would like to extend our gratitude again to you. Unfortunately, I can't adjourn this hearing even if I wanted to. It is now suspended. Thank you.